build kings from comfort. You forge them in the flame. The weak may drown in luxury, but the strong remember pain. The age of pampered princes fades. The iron's core remains. Stand tall, my brothers, rise again with iron in your veins. Soft hands scrolling screens in shame. Forgot the Father's name. Pillow talk and protein shakes. While the world still bleeds in vain. They flinch at truth, they run from heat. Trade steel for silk and tweeds. But sons of men were made from pain. Not filters, likes, or cheaters. You can't sip courage from a cup or buy your soul online. Real grit don't beg for love, it earns it. Spine by spine, raise your fists, let thunder rain. We need the iron in our veins. No more soy, sweet lullabies. Wake the lions, watch 'em rise. Strength and honor, not pretend. The world needs men again.
Hey, welcome in. You know me, the potato. Let me get this. All right. So let me get into my intro at least. Welcome back, my Tater Nation. Looks like we have a few people watching. It's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for Tater Talks Thursdays. So if there's anybody that would like to join, one of my vetting mods will be around shortly. For now, I will have someone jumping in, and I'll be talking with them one-on-one. This is the round table. This is the open panel. So again, if anybody wants to join, please join. This is where bold ideas meet real conversations. No scripts, no safe little sound bites, no flakes. Just organically grown conversations served fresh. And you know us potatoes, we'll have lots and lots of eyes, and we like watching all the interesting things that humans do up top. All right, let me get that off there. And tonight we're going to be diving into big questions, sharp disagreements, and maybe a little uncomfortable truths. But we do it with logic, respect, and a willingness to actually listen. So pull up a chair, check your ego at the door, and let's dig in, because this is Tater Talks Thursdays. And of course, before we begin, this program contains open dialogue and unscripted commentary. Guest participants speak for themselves. Their opinions are solely their own and do not reflect the views of the host or this channel. Conversations may include strong language, conversational perspectives, and emotionally charged positions. The purpose of this format is dialogue, not endorsement. We expect all participants to follow platform terms of service and community guidelines. Personal attacks, threats, or calls for violence will result in removal. Viewer discretion is advised with the possibility of strong language. And again, I don't have many people that have talked about being there, so if anybody wants to join, feel free to try to get in, and I'll get you vetted. In the meantime, I'll start my day off with showing you my new shirt. I got my shirts in. They have a fairly decent turnaround time. And so if you guys want what I've shown you, or you know what I've talked about in the Discord, and if you're not part of the Discord, please join my Discord. It's always a good time. All right, so let's see, who do we have in the chat? Leia, we appreciate you getting here and getting this chat started off. Klondike, Elmo, appreciate you. As always, good to see you, man. Tyler, thank you very much for joining. Appreciate you being here. And the view and the engagement. And Wikimoto, of course, as always, appreciate you being here. And again, if anybody wants to join the panel, I only have one person so far. I will be trying to get a mod in there as soon as possible, but I will vet you in the meantime. So just shout out in the either the live chat or the Discord, and I'll try to get to you. TVT, thank you very much for being here, man, and the mod location. As always, appreciate your efforts for the channel. And we'll go ahead and just get started on a few things here. Really appreciate you being here, everybody. I know there's an illness going around. There's a few people down for the count, and I always want to shout out the prayer request of my own for my community. If you would be so kind, they definitely need it. Everybody, it seems like, needs it. Hopefully I don't get sick to that point either. Let's see. Elmo says, I will join, but you said reasonable people. Yeah, you're reasonable. You're all right. You can join if you'd like to. Anybody can join. If you don't want to, no pressure though. I'm not expecting anybody to join if they don't want to. Let's see. I had something saved here. Of course. You know, it always has to boomer it up for the first little bit of my stream. It's the way how it goes, I guess. So on X, I've been seeing a few different things that I have been wanting to talk about, and they haven't been exactly the forefront of my mind. So while I'm waiting for, a mod to show, not necessarily show, it's not like I know what's going on and everything's good there. But while I'm waiting for that to happen, I will go ahead and show you what I've got going on X. And let me get over here. The sound on. I guess probably the sound doesn't need to be on for this. Sorry, guys. All right, so let's see. And Leia, I appreciate you being in the chat, in the room. Again, if anybody wants to join, feel free. I'll just be showing a few things for maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes here. Let a few people roll in if they want to, and if not, that's fine too. All right, so this is just basically where a lot of AI is going, the micromanaging, the bottom line. So it will show you time lapse of them, how long they've been sitting there waiting for their coffee, if they have it, how long they've been there, how many cups their employees have been contributing to that bottom line. This is interesting to me. I'm kind of curious on what we all think of this. This isn't necessarily on the panel for discussions right now, but it can be. Again, I've had AI as one of my talking points. Don't know exactly where I stand on the idea of it. Let's see. So this was interesting to me. Empathetic. Let me get back to the start of it. So Rob Schneider, if you don't know who that is, I don't know where you've been for the last, 20 years. But this is what he has to say, and I'll just kind of riff off of it.
Women obviously have a higher capacity for empathy than men, but that empathy can be manipulated into.
And see, that's the biggest problem, right? Is women need to be able to be given the ability to be empathetic. Right? It's in their nature. They need to have that ability. Hey, don't call it art. I appreciate you being here and the engagement. What is going on? Interesting spelling there. Appreciate the engagement, man. Again, I know that people are down for the count, and I appreciate anybody that is not feeling well but is still here. And we'll get back into this real quick.
Giving empathy for people who don't deserve it. And that's a problem. And they can be manipulated into doing things that are not in their best interest. And that's why, Greg, I want our audience to consider amending the 19th Amendment.
Really?
Now I'm not.
Uh-oh. I'm sure he got a lot of flack for this. This was a while ago at this point in time. But, yeah, don't call it art. Never been a fan of Rob Schneider, but he totally won me over since 19. Yeah, I don't blame you. He has had some interesting takes since then for sure. Hey, his words of love. I appreciate the engagement. I'm seeing you here. Hey crew, good to see you. Wanted to swing by, show some support. I'm wrapped up in baking this lasagna and a few other things this evening, lurking around. Oh, and that's the other thing. I know that it's still holidays, so I don't expect a whole lot of people. Let me see. Yeah, so we have a vetter in the voice channel. So if we need somebody or somebody wants to join, there's a mod there, and I want to give a shout out to that mod. Thank that mod for being there, and everybody in the chat, as always, appreciate you.
I'm not saying, no, whoa, women, I'm not saying I don't want you to vote. I'm just saying not for the important stuff.
Yeah.
No, but let me hear me out. No. You can still vote. No. There's plenty of, ladies, there's plenty of things for you to still vote for. America's Got Talent, Dancing with the Stars, the school board.
And again, as we all know, and again, if you don't know Rob Schneider, I don't know where you've been, but he is a comedian, so this can only be taken from a comedian's perspective, really. So again, I don't know if he really believes all of this, but women should have the ability to be empathetic. There shouldn't be a need for them to be in the voter base, to be completely honest.
Employee of the month at Whole Foods, there's plenty for you to still get excited about and vote. I'm just saying for the big stuff, leave it to the less suicidal, empathetic humans, men. Women have obviously than men.
Sorry. All right, let me see. So on that note, this is part of the reason why I have a concern with the 19th Amendment and the fact that women are able to be propagandized. This is a church, as I understand it, or a pastor of a church. I don't know exactly. This was a while ago.
Abortion! Make them stop!
Jeez, that is loud. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
Talking about abortion makes many people profoundly uncomfortable. At dinner parties, in polite conversation.
Jesus, this lady. Hey, his Pharmacat, appreciate the engagement and the view. It's always good to see you. Hope everything's doing good for you.
With friends and family, and too often in church. Despite many people's profound discomfort with abortion, images, messaging, and moralizing about abortion are ubiquitous in our
I don't know if I can be saying this on YouTube. Hopefully it doesn't take me down.
culture. Talking fetuses, aggressive bumper stickers, and saccharine billboards quoting scripture and invoking God's wrath. Pave our
Yeah. Real quick. Let's see. So Tyler, appreciate you. More Brian Shapiro voters, few women voters. Shmeesh. Yeah. Seriously though. TVT, is that a Planned Parenthood priestess? Apparently. This is a wild one. Like I said, it was a while ago. I'm just getting off work. Apologize if I'm a little tired today. Appreciate everybody in the chat and the views. As always, I appreciate everybody. And Barn, appreciate the engagement. How's everybody going in the nation of taters? Again, appreciate you, Barn, the view, the engagement, and what you do for everybody as the rancher that you are. And just me, appreciate the engagement. It's been a little bit since I've seen you, so I really appreciate the engagement and the view.
Streets and plaster our highways. Politicians stump on the issue, and state legislatures spent the last 50 years working to control, regulate, and ultimately overturn Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, and that saved a lot of lives. Let's just, say how it is. It was a good thing that Roe v. Wade got overturned. Come on now. Peach on a Leash, thank you very much for the engagement and the view. I always appreciate seeing you in the chat.
Their success was our failure. In the abortion imaginary, all people of faith are against abortion. This imaginary has colonized our minds, traumatizing many people with its toxic theology, and shaping a culture of stigma and shame that has silenced millions of women and people who have had abortions, erasing their voices, their stories, and their witness from the public sphere.
I don't understand how they think that they can justify this stuff as a Christian of any sort. I really don't.
As a child of God, I can certainly appreciate the lyrical beauty of this text, as well as the descriptions in Jeremiah and Job of their certain knowledge that God was with them in the womb. I too feel that I am known by God in these ways. As a woman who has borne 2 children, I can affirm that I felt something sacred happening in my gestating
But you're okay with letting other people, you have a Planned Parenthood. This is wild.
body during those pregnancies. I can also attest that I felt God's presence with me as I made the decision to end 2 pregnancies.
Yeah, birds aren't even real. Thank you very much for the engagement. Appreciate you being here. I'm sick of culture, too much culture. I just want to go back to how it used to be, where it was pretty simple. Hey, Kyle, appreciate the engagement. Am I the only one that gets irrationally angry whenever I hear a woman past chair pontificate? Yeah, I unfortunately, I'm kind of with you. And in my older years, it's getting worse and worse as I get older.
And I felt no guilt, no shame, no sin. While the liminal space of my womb and all fertile wombs represents the possibility of creating new life, if pregnancy and gestation are to remain holy mysteries, they require cooperation. A forced pregnancy or birth is not holy.
It's a choice. There's a very simple way of keeping you from having to deal with the thought of having to deal with it. Just don't have the intimacy. Pretty simple. I don't understand why it's such a problem here. Hey, Tara, appreciate the engagement. As always, appreciate seeing you in the chat and the view. As always, appreciate you being here. Let's see.
I cannot fathom a God who would imagine otherwise.
Hey, Haul Long, appreciate the engagement. Leia, yeah, so I did not actually know that. The last 3 popes have endorsed that. That is wild to me. Yeah, that is just wild. All right, let's see. Almost there. Yep, I'm there, apparently. So I don't know exactly where I stand on women voting, but we need definitely more rational voters than someone who is willing to take the accountability from someone and throw it on, I mean, that innocent soul that didn't do anything at all. Hey, Duck, appreciate the engagement. Good to see you, man. Thank you very much for the view. All right. So that and that. This is interesting. So I used to, again, I'm an Eagle Scout. So this came as a shock to me. See if I can get it a little bit bigger. Apparently not. So basically what it is Boy Scouts launch an Islamophobia Awareness Month badge. This is tragic to me, to be completely honest. I don't know exactly how to feel about Islam at all in Boy Scouts, but to be launching an Islamophobia Awareness Month for a badge is wild to me, for sure. Let's see. All right. So as you guys saw, if you didn't see, I'm sure the people that are in my chat have all seen this. The debate between Rachel Wilson and Driana, they called her Drano for a while there, was pretty wild. I do intend on covering that. This is a little bit longer than I want to cover right now. So I'll go ahead and see who's in the, looks like Leia is still in the voice channel. So we'll go ahead and hop over and see what she has to say. And we might just call it a quick day today if nobody wants to join the panel, which is understandable. I'm not mad. I understand that everybody's kind of dealing with their own thing. I'll keep it going as long as I possibly can, of course, but I come from a full day of work too. So if anything, I'm not necessarily opposed to being a short day. They should take away the awareness part of the badge and let the phobia rip. Barn. Yeah, right. We need to have a little bit more phobia for cultures that don't have our best interests in heart, right? But again, if you haven't seen Rachel Wilson, she's on X. She's been posting quite a bit lately. Good stuff. Rachel Wilson is a good creator, as well as Andrew Wilson, the Crucible. shout out to those guys as always. But I'll go ahead and hop into voice channel, and we'll see what we have with Leia. Hey, Leia. Sorry. Can you hear me? Okay. Are you free? I didn't mean to hop in here without letting you know. No, you're good. I'll hop over. I just put us in the main room so they can't hear you, but I can. So give me just a second here. All right, we're good now. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start with you saw the list. So there was men, masculinity, modern society. Is masculinity under attack, being redefined, or simply misunderstood? Not necessarily something I care to start with, but best one to start with that as far as I'm concerned. What are your thoughts? We talked the other day about the patriarchy. What are your thoughts on the need for the patriarchy? If you don't mind me asking on that.
Oh, of course not. Real quick, because I know nobody else heard it. I have like a sinus infection and all this stuff. I sound crappy, so please excuse me. Just preface. But yeah, when it comes to the patriarchy, obviously it is needed. You know, it not only supposedly ushers us towards salvation, at least if we're the faithful, right? Which I think was something I didn't bring
Appreciate it,
up
Tara.
in our last conversation. That thinking back on it would have also been a good point. But obviously, it built the entire world around us, right? So I don't think anybody could deny that it's necessary. It's just that some people seem to have a problem with it. And to the point where they make terms like toxic masculinity, and it becomes a whole sin just to literally be a man or display masculine behavior, which to me is wild.
Well, and see, that's the thing is I'm come from a very small town, so I don't get out a whole lot. I'm not sure, what kind of location that you have around you, whether you have a lot or not. You had mentioned at one point in time being a liberal, and then coming to the light, if you will. So kind of what are your experiences there, I guess?
Coming to the light is pretty apropos for that. Yes, I was a crazy lefty, and it was never very popular, minus maybe with my school friends. I'm in East Tennessee, actually, so it's pretty conservative, and it was never popular when I was young, and it's definitely, if anything, gotten more liberal because we have a lot of transplants that have moved from places like California and Florida and other really liberal spaces. So if anything, it's like I've always been fighting the culture of my area. Like before I was liberal, it was conservative. Now it's more liberal, but still pretty conservative, and I'm conservative.
I got you. Yeah, I come from a really conservative background. I've always been a conservative myself, and so the more and more I get out into the world that I'm now seeing, again, I'm from a small town and watching the whatever podcast, seeing the big cities, right? So it's weird to me to see how many people hate so much the patriarchy of sorts. Again, men, masculinity, modern society. Is masculinity under attack, being redefined, or simply misunderstood? Kind of what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I guess that's a good question. I feel like all of the above in one way or another. I feel like it's definitely under attack in the ways I've mentioned and many others. I think they're trying to redefine it with everything from messaging toward men about their quote unquote toxicity and the way they harm people and women's, and even down to like the Kamala commercials where men were like being in touch with their softer side, right? Like all of this messaging kind of geared toward these traditionally masculine qualities being somehow inherently harmful. And I think a lot of the liberals are trying to soy boy eyes. I made that a verb. The men in our society. And I don't think this is just a culture thing. I mean, we know about, hormones in our food chemicals in our water. Alex Jones joked about them turning the frogs gay, and well, come to find out, there's hormones in our water that, whatever. We won't get into that. He
Right.
wasn't lying. We'll just say that.
Right.
I mean, everything that used to seem kind of crazy is turning out to be not so crazy, and it just makes me. It reminds me of people who talk about Baal worship and like Wiccanism and witchcraft, the dark side, quote unquote, even though I think it's all dark. Talk a lot about the trans, quote unquote, nature of a lot of these demons because, angels and demons really have no sex, right?
Right.
And I don't know, all that just kind of leads back to itself. It's like a Aurora, whatever, the snake that eats its own tail.
Right. Ouroboros. Ouroboros or something like that.
Yeah, that guy. But, yeah, all of the above. Redefined, attacked. Yeah, I think all of that is happening.
Yeah. I'd have to agree. So excuse me. Biggest thing is like I said, I come from a small area. I don't even see half of the stuff that's actually been going on. And now that I am seeing it, it's just crazy to me. Like Barn here in the chat says, let's see, where did it go? It's not highlightable. Of course it's not. He says, toxic masculinity / femininity don't exist. They are just traits. It's the people that make them toxic because of crappy people will be crappy regardless of the traits. And I agree with that. That's for sure. And Wickmoto says, from somebody in California, I can only say you can have all the transplants that you want. We have no return policy, so your problems now. Sorry, buddy. And Kyle, Ouroboros,
No.
Aurora, something like that. See, I'm a potato.
Yeah, I can't say it either. So I always say, the one. You know the one.
Yep, that snake eating tail, right thing. Anyway, what were you saying?
Yeah, that guy. No, I completely agree. It's except for you can have some of the transplants back because they're also driving up home prices and making all sorts of trouble. But regardless, when it comes to toxic traits, I think that's true. I think we've kind of lost the plot with the meanings of a lot of these words, right? And I think there is like a toxic nature to certain like behaviors and attitudes. I think it's more like when children are being raised, and I've even seen it in myself. Like, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not perfect. And, like when my son gets hurt, before I can help it, just because of my own conditioning and the way I've seen everyone else parent around me, my first thing is like, don't cry, toughen up, walk it off. Yet if my daughter gets hurt, everything stops and I check to make sure she's okay. Lord forbid she's bleeding. I mean, not really. I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Sure.
She's tough. But, just like these very harsh lines that we draw. And it's not so much as adults so much. It's, I think, a lot of the behaviors that we kind of start as children, like when we're teaching our children and maybe don't do a perfect job, kind of continue into adulthood. And yeah, welcome in, y'all.
Welcome in, guys. Thank you for joining the panel.
Hey, well,
how are we?
doing great. How are you doing?
Good to see you on the panel, man. How are you? How's everything going, Elmo?
I'm always me. I'm always good.
It's good to see you, man. Do you guys have anything to say?
It's great to
go ahead, Elmo.
First off, it's great to see Leah. Leah, how do you pronounce that?
That's a good question.
It's Leah. Everybody says Leah, though. I'm not ever offended.
Well, I'm a Star Wars fan, so maybe.
Me too.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Like, am I a princess? That's what I get.
Do you guys have anything to say on the subject that we're on? Since you just hopped in, give you a chance for the floor.
Yeah. For masculinity, I've got one. Elmo and I were just kind of shooting the breeze a little back there, but it actually applies. See, he and I are of the generation. Our grandfathers fought in World War II or Korea War. One grandpa fought World War II, the other fought in Korean War. And my grandpa Pete, he always said, anyone asked how he was doing, if he wasn't ready with a joyful message,
Right.
his instant response was, "Well, I'd complain, but nobody would listen, and if they did, they wouldn't believe me."
Right.
And then he'd laugh. Right?
Right.
It was just one of those things where he never taught me stoicism, but as I've learned stoicism, he lived it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being raised in the 80s, things were. I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine how my grandfather felt about how touchy-feely everything was in the 80s, because I look at it today and I'm like, oh my gosh, grandpa would be locking kids in the cellar just
Right.
for crying.
Right.
Like it wasn't. It's not that they didn't show love and they didn't appreciate and participate in our laughter and in life lessons with us, but if we were unreasonably moody for whatever reason, he just ended the engagement for the day.
Yeah.
He'd tell us, hey, go tell your mom she wants you.
Yeah.
Send us back home.
Yep. I was an outside
So,
kid personally, so I spent.
it wasn't. It's not the
Go ahead.
right. Well, and then from the chats that I've heard you have in your last week's videos, sounds like you and I were raised kind of similarly.
Probably.
In that similar third, fourth generation environment in that faith.
Sounds like it. Yep.
And it was just I think that had an awful lot to do with it, where I look back now and see, wow, the amount of femininity that was spoon-fed to us, that my grandpa would never have recommended.
Right.
I feel like we need to be careful of putting our children into environments that we trust, but we don't verify, we don't double check, we don't question what they're being
good
told.
one. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, amen.
And that's a responsibility of us men.
Right.
Isn't that the whole problem of the 70s and 80s, though? That we actually trust the government.
Yeah,
Like
right.
I was born in '70.
Okay.
I was what they call a key lock kid, or whatever you want to call it.
Latchkey kid. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Latchkey kid.
Right. That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
Where like I
Hey,
went home,
Bandit,
my
good to
parents
see you,
were
man.
working in the '80s, but
And if anybody
we
wants to join,
trusted
you're
the
welcome.
government back then. Is
Appreciate
it a
anybody
good
join
thing
if
or
they want
bad
to.
thing that we have the internet now, where we're able, because what was the name? Walter Cronkite,
Walter Cronkite.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said it. You believed it.
Right.
Now we got 15,000 other opinions on everything. And then I think it was 2010 that Obama made it legal for the one government agency to actually put propaganda to the American people. And I think that's what we're seeing now.
Yeah, great one.
There's
If you
a
want to
lot
join,
of propaganda
good to see you. Either way.
going into our news now. Like the views.
Right.
How the freak do they have any views? They are the most American hating people I ever seen.
Right. Yeah, make sure you go into the vetting room
That's very
first.
true.
That's how you get into my room that I'm in.
How is that a thing? They're getting
Mr.
paid.
B will be there.
Nobody watches that
My
shit.
good mods always got my back.
Except old liberals. I know that's right. That's what I'm always wondering. Other than the old liberals, who is watching?
People that are too tired to get up and change the channel. That's who.
Right.
Like,
Hey, we know their demographics.
Right.
If I ever go into a coma, if something happens to me, I ever go into a coma, put on The View. I guarantee I will wake up and turn that shit off.
That's a pretty good one. So we'll have to remember that.
Yeah.
If I could, going back to what Nate was saying a moment ago,
Yeah.
that was actually kind of. I was just gonna say that was the whole stoicism and raising boys was actually kind of the point I was going to go toward, and I know I'm taking a little bit of take this, so I'm asking it escaped me, but that was kind of where I was going.
Kind of cutting out a little bit.
Skywalker.
Right.
Sorry, y'all go ahead.
Leia Skywalker. I raised 3 boys. And it's boys are easier than girls, I would think. Because boys are rough and tough. Girls are a little different.
They're definitely very different.
Yeah, that's all I know. I don't have any, but I know that they're different.
But
I will say, I never would have thought they would be so different. Like the same 2 parents have 2 different children, but
right.
Well, you have to have. Honestly, you need both parents because you need compassion from the mother, and you need the toughness from the father.
That's another way. Just real quick, that's another way we're destroying masculinity. Is making society and men believe that they are somehow the secondary parent and not as necessary as the mother. That's another big way masculinity is being destroyed, in my opinion.
Well, I agree with you on there. So nobody's disagreeing. We're on the same page.
Right. Yeah. So we can change topics. I was trying to get Grid One the link to the Discord. If Mr. B, if you have chance, go ahead and link that in the live chat for Grid. I don't know if he's part of my Discord yet. Kyle, appreciate the engagement. What was that?
Sorry, I was just saying hi.
You're good. Appreciate the engagement, guys. If anybody wants to join the panel, you just have to go through the vetting room. Go with Mr. B in the vetting room to make sure that we ask you the questions, to make sure you know that you're going to be on live, and you don't say anything that will take me down, of course. Welcome into the panel, Tara. Do you want to have anything to say or anything to start out?
I have a lot to say about this topic. But,
well, you're welcome to say whatever you'd like to say if you want.
You know, I will say this. It's good that, because I'm 35 years old, so it's good that we have people up here that are a little bit older than me, you know, because the things that they're describing, not only have I seen, think about it, right? Not only is somebody like me seeing it go through that, but for me, it essentially deteriorated into nothing. So I at least have a kernel of what, like, I know it's supposed to be and like all this other stuff. Everybody below my age doesn't have any of that.
Right.
You know, I'm just glad there's a few people older than me up here that'll actually tell you that I'm not crazy, you know?
Terez, all my kids have the same mentality as I do at this point.
Good.
They're like, youngest one is in his 20s, but they know discipline. They know you got to do what you got to do, type of thing.
My only thing is, you are 100% right on that. But my only thing is that, especially in these days, you can be literally anything you want, and like no, it's not like nobody cares anymore. And it's easy to like just see. You don't have you don't have the ability to even like unless you have somebody there every day and like guiding you and telling you, hey, no, this is actually wrong. This is why it's wrong. It's because it's 10,000 times worse than it was growing up. Way worse.
Yeah, because like half the people don't have discipline anymore.
Yeah.
Well, more than half, I should say. Like a lot of people are brought up in broken homes, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah, and
I mean, but you need the male influence and the female influence to
right.
raise a kid properly. Like you need both sides. You need to know the empathy and you need to know the toughness. Like your job is not going to bow to you. You got to do your job. You got people walking in. I didn't get hired. So the mom goes up and starts yelling at the manager at McDonald's. Yeah, there was a video of that the other day that I saw. That's why I'm referencing it. But
Right.
they're yelling at the manager. Why did you hire my son? Well, he wouldn't put his hair out of his eyes. Like, he wouldn't listen.
Right.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because I've been thinking about a lot of this type of stuff for the last little while, and I don't even really know how to describe this, but like it's for the women too, right? So it's like I don't even know what a feminine woman is. Like I've had a girlfriend for 10 years and like all this stuff. I'm not saying I don't know what, I'm not saying any of that, but like they're the same position as us. They don't
Right.
develop any of
That's so
their,
true.
you know. So
Right.
it's just hard because uh like how am I supposed to even know like what to do, you know? Because they're like
Thank
you
you for
can
the
have
engagement,
discipline and
Josh.
direction,
Appreciate you being here.
but if you don't know how to apply the tools properly, then you're kind of screwed,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of women don't know how to be submissive. And I think that's femininity is definitely under attack as well, 1,000%. I don't know that well, it's hard to compare it to like, is it the same as men because it's different roles, etc. But I definitely believe it's under attack as well. And I think that the big thing is like, what is femininity? Like, obviously being a woman is, special and we're beautiful creatures. We have children. We know these types of things, and our roles are to do things like nurture, cook, clean, be there for emotional support, et cetera, et cetera. But what is it beyond that? And I think a lot of it is deferring to the men in your life, and hopefully they're good men. That's
Right.
another big thing is choosing good men to surround yourself with, not just your partner, but your friends.
Right.
I have really solid friends in my life. It's
Leah,
almost advisors.
Leah, the biggest
Yeah, yeah.
threat, the biggest threat to females is actually feminist because
Oh,
they
yeah,
want
for sure. I agree.
they oh, you're independent. You don't need children. You don't need a man. You don't need, hey, no, hey, a man needs a woman. A woman needs a man.
Yep.
Like you might not need one at this second, but you want to. I kind of think the whole purpose of life is to create more, to leave a
Oh,
mark on
yeah.
this world.
How
To
else are you going to pass down a legacy, right?
Right.
make it better. If you can, make this world better.
And I do hate that
It
messaging that
doesn't.
you have to be like a strong woman and you have to like even people who encourage marriage always constantly encourage things like prenups and having your own account for your just in case money and all this stuff. Me and Ryan don't do that. My husband, we don't do that. Like he takes care of our family, I take care of our home and our children. And Lord forbid something were to happen, like yeah, that would be terrible. But I trust him because I chose a partner I could trust, which is on me. Enough women are not ready to take responsibility for their shitty choices in partners. That's just straight up.
But
I chose a good man.
isn't that the whole purpose of marriage? Is that you trust this person with your life?
Yeah,
Like,
it's supposed to
isn't
be.
that the whole purpose?
And I agree. And when you go into it thinking like, I trust you and I love you, but, right, it's always the buts. But just in case
Yeah.
you leave, just in case you do this or that, I'm going to have my own money. Well, doesn't that already set you up for failure?
Yep.
This is my opinion, right?
Okay.
It doesn't even really matter what position you're in as a man or a woman, because technically we're both the same in the aspect of that. For 80% of the stuff we can do, just wander around daily, we can do by ourselves. But there's some things that I as a man just can't do as a woman.
Yep.
You can do, right? And there's other things that women need to talk to men about, but it doesn't even matter if maybe Leah, maybe you could speak to this a little bit. It doesn't even matter if it's your husband, but if I didn't even earn your respect or trust to get into a not an intimate circle, but for you to even tell me personal information or the problem, you trust me to help you figure it out and blah blah blah. We both have to invite each other into these spaces, right? And these days it's not only under attack, but words are being twisted and all this other stuff. It's kind of crazy to navigate, right?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely so. And welcome in, Grid One. I wanted to say hi. You've been hanging.
Yeah, good to see you. You should be able to talk now. Go ahead and try to speak. Make sure your settings are
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
right on. Yeah, we can hear you now. Sorry about that, buddy.
Good. All right. Yeah, that's cool. It's a good
Welcome in,
discussion
gamer.
you guys are having.
Thank you. I appreciate the engagement as well as the feedback. And do you have anything to say while you've got the floor?
Yeah, I mean, I talk a lot about this, right? I mean, the problem is that we aren't allowing young men to be young men and make mistakes, to get angry, to break things, to act out and understand what they're truly capable of. So that they learn not to do that, right?
Right.
And so what ends up happening is you have this you have a lot of fear in young men. Less so with women. Women are told to be strong, you can do this, you got this, girl, all this kind of stuff. But men are told that if you cross your legs when you sit, that you might be gay.
Right.
Yes, exactly. That's the type of attitude I was talking about earlier. Exactly.
Men are literally rather than reinforce masculinity.
Yeah,
and
gamer,
let
good
it
to see you. I don't know if I
let
shouted you
young
out.
men come into their own.
It's good to see you,
We've
man.
created a culture where young men live in fear of being called gay.
Yep.
You look at a guy and I'm just going to pick on him because everybody knows who this dude is, and that's Justin Waller. That dude works out. He wears his shirt too tight. He wears his pants too tight. He sits with his legs spread as far as he can because he's got big balls, all so
Right.
that people don't think he's gay. Why?
Right.
Why? Where's this fear? Where does it come from that you might be gay? And then what we actually look at is we look at what society's doing. Men have on the one hand, you have all of these young men who want to be good young men out there, and they're looking at their idols. You look at sports athletes used to dress masculine, but now dressing masculine is evil. If you're masculine, you're evil.
Thank you for the heads up,
And so
gamer.
that's
not sure if that
toxic,
helped or
right?
not.
So now you have NBA All-Stars dressing in pink fucking hot pants like a 1950s server.
Right.
Right? Like, what the fuck?
Yep.
That's not masculine, bro. That's not.
Isn't that where?
I'll
Wouldn't
just
that be
add
where their
a tiny
father
little thing.
steps in?
Hold on.
Well, it
Elmo.
ought to be.
I'll
Tara,
just add a tiny little thing to that grid.
yeah, Tara, go ahead.
On the opposite end of that, you got dudes like me that become really angry at everything and want to destroy stuff
All right.
in a rage.
Yeah, man, I'm angry all the time. My default setting is violence.
Same.
And like, it's kind of messed up because
why?
Like I became
Why
a
is that messed
man
up?
in my own way, right? I had guidance and all that stuff, but there's everything is so frayed to the point where I don't think the people that do grow
I
past
can't
the
highlight
point
Tyler's
of that
comment.
fray
That's
is only going to
funny.
be like me. 'Cause
True
they
that.
see
True
what's
that.
happening and going on. Like, you're only going to get either, like Grid was saying, just like dudes that are afraid, or dudes like me that are just.
Appreciate it, Leia.
It's not that I don't care, but
Leia.
like,
Leia.
buddy,
Leia.
if we got a problem, then you know.
I
Like,
guess I'm
it's a
really
very
not
odd
sure.
situation, you know.
I look, I'm not sure what your situation is, but let me give you my read. My default setting is violence. I would.
Yeah, I need to start pushing
my
for that a little
immediate
bit more,
reaction
don't
to
I?
everything is to break stuff, and go nuclear, right? If and you know, because some of my wife uses this to great effect when when she's trying to get something done and some attorney somewhere or
Hey,
some
good to see you, man.
some guy's
As
supposed
always,
to be
that
billing us for
freaking
something
picture
is
is
screwing
dope.
it up and isn't listening to her. You know what? She will put me on it. You know why? Because I will get it. Because I just go nuclear. I'm like, fuck it. We'll just nuke the whole service. I don't care. Right? Like I don't care. I'll walk away from the whole thing. And of course, these that's not always the answer, but that's my default setting. The thing is that men need to understand and how to control that. I don't.
Yeah, gamers.
Because I know
some
what
highlights.
I'm capable of.
Some
like I've broken
chats
dudes' tooth
highlight.
off
Some
in my
don't.
hand. I have put my hand through a French door. I have, I've done some things, right, that probably weren't the smartest thing, and I'm very fortunate that the consequences of those things haven't caught up with me in the same way that they have for other people. But one of the things I learned from that is I have to be in control. So now I'm a study of control.
Right.
Again, my first instinct is violence, but I very rarely ever use it because I have total control of me. You can't understand what your strength or weaknesses are if you never understand your strength, right? Or your weakness, right? My weakness is that
interesting.
I will
not
act
sure what
rashly
you're falsing
when
about.
I need to calm the fuck down and look at it, and I understand that
violent thing. It's in nature.
Yeah,
masculinity
right
is a violent thing. Yeah,
masculinity is violent by default, and so you can't be considered
not sure why it won't let me highlight that one
without the capability or at least a propensity for some sort of violence. And people hate to hear that in society now. You will get canceled for saying that. I'm probably going to get a letter from Discord tonight because, hey, you said violence and you said that young men ought to be violent, right? But it's a fine line, and this is it's actually not that fine line. It's a pretty broad line, but it's easy to cross.
Appreciate the engagement, Abe. Can't highlight it, but violence isn't inherently wrong.
Is that
I agree with that? Yeah.
Let's just say that even if you had everything in place,
and feel free to join the panel. Anybody wants
boys, kids could play and roughhouse and throw footballs at each other and have BB gun wars and stab each other with sticks and that kind of thing and learn hard lessons that way. Let's say that all that happened. the problem is that in modern society, you have a culture where femininity is celebrated and masculinity is demonized, and therefore men, young men, look at your young movie stars. Are they wearing suits like they did in the 50s that were masculine, that made a man look like a man and look look attractive to women?
Wait,
No,
it's your
they're wearing
birthday,
super
Abe?
tight
Holy
pants. They're wearing these
happy
tapered
birthday,
skinny
man.
leg jeans that make them, they
If
literally
not,
wear
sorry,
pants that are
but
called girl
happy
pants.
birthday.
Do you understand how
Some of them
fucked
are
up
wearing
that is?
dresses.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Some dudes are wearing dresses, but I'm talking about men who dress in like I was actually I was at SHOT Show, right? And this is a you know this is it's a worldwide thing. And this guy comes over from the UK, and every time I saw him,
Yeah,
he
Tyler,
was in
exactly.
this
When I became a man, I
modern
left childish things
athleisure wear,
behind.
which was like Lululemon, fucking
Exactly.
tight leg, kinda sorta slacks, but they're like super tapered, tight leg, that look like
Thank you
what
very much,
women should
DVT.
wear.
Appreciate you doing that.
And I'm like, first of all, men's bodies, they don't look good like that. They don't look good like that. We don't. There's no dude that looks good in skinny jeans. I'm just telling you. If you think you do, you're fucking wrong.
Right.
You
Yep.
look back to like Cary Grant, right? Like think about that dude. I mean, I understand. I'm reaching back. It's the guy. He's back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, but that dude looked cool.
Wait.
John Wayne looked cool.
Right? I had
John
to
Wayne looked
too.
cool
What the?
because his clothes were masculine. He was a masculine dude. He would hit a dude in the face. He would say the hard things.
Yeah. What were you?
I grew up on Chuck Norris and stuff like that. Like I on your point, men should be monsters.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah,
And
yeah.
hear me
What's
out
the
on
name
this.
of the-
Men should be monsters, but controlled
Absolutely, Kyle.
monsters. We have to have self-control. If someone hurts my kids or hurts my wife, I'm going to be the monster
And they
that
wonder
destroys somebody that does that.
why people stare.
So
Is
what we have
somebody-
in society is we have a comfort level with being a dick because we know that other men can't really
I actually
do
have a theory
anything
on that.
about it.
I actually have a
Right?
theory on that.
Go ahead. I'd love
Uh,
to hear it.
I think that we're thinking about it all wrong. I think that we think about it as a restriction
Pinstripe was the
or like
probably
a
still
loosening
is.
up or something. But
Thank you,
a
long.
lot of these things were
long,
allowed to
all long.
blossom entirely
A
to
long
the point
day.
where like we just don't accept them anymore and want to change it. And the reason I believe that is because our societies we're very flexible in a lot of ways, but also we're very rigid in a lot of ways too. And the only way to get rid of that is to tell everybody that you're free to do everything. So the debauchery just takes over. And that we're just
But we
20
had
years into it now.
debauchery. I mean, we've always had debauchery, right? Like this is
Right.
this is an interesting thing too, right? Holong Nate says he always gets more positive attention when you ride the Harley in a pinstripe suit. I'm going
Right.
to tell you, if you want a mass amount of female attention, wear a properly fitted suit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Have it tailored. Heck yeah, man. They like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even care. You could look like fuck, I can't think of that dude's name now. It doesn't matter. You could look like the Pillsbury
Gosh.
Doughboy, and if you had a properly fitted suit,
Oh man.
gave
Yeah.
you that did your silhouette proper.
Right.
And it's interesting because I was listening to something today, and they were talking about this guy was reviewing the Manosphere video or a movie that just came out, documentary, whatever the fuck they call it, and he was reviewing it and kind of just rolling along, and like, hey, these and this is these guys go out of their way to overcorrect for masculinity, right? They're wearing their shirts too tight. They wear their suit too tight. Their suit pants are too tight. And you're not, and it's,
fair enough.
they're all jacked, right? These dudes they're jacked. They've got, they're masculine. But then they come off looking like they don't know how to dress, and they look like they don't know what they're doing, right? They look stupid. And it's not a good look when you wear too tight a suit or too tight a shirt or too loose a shirt. I mean, fitted is fitted for a reason, right?
Right.
There's a reason for that.
No, great.
Yeah.
Great. Now, is that the female attraction of this guy gets fitted suits? He's got money. He can support me.
No, that's too simplistic. And I actually really, so here's the thing. I'll give you my personal anecdote. When I met my wife, I was basically a mechanic. Okay. Now I had ambition. I was very highly skilled. I worked for a race team. I had been doing it for quite a while. I was decently paid, not tremendously well paid, made decent money, but not anything special. But
that is very true, Kyle.
I was going to start a shop.
Very
I knew
true.
I was going to do a bunch of things. I had a whole plan of how to gather all these
to the point where they're
skills
wearing makeup
and go into business for myself. But I was basically paycheck to paycheck, dude. Right? I literally I still shop at Walmart, but I literally stopped. I mean, like most of my clothes, man, were from work. And if they weren't from work, they were from the discount bin, right? Like I wasn't doing any of the things that people act like you have to do. My wife is amazing. My wife is beautiful. My wife, is honestly, she's a couple of levels above me status wise.
Nice.
But it was the fact.
No question on your wife. No question on your wife. I wasn't even going there.
No. I'm giving you. I'm trying to give you an example here.
He's not saying
so.
anything.
Even though you would say that hypergamy would come into play there, and she wouldn't even look at a dude like me, that's a problem for that. I don't believe that, and I rally against this all the time. I think that's too simplistic. I think that's stupid, and I think it's an excuse
that's wild,
that men in
Kyle.
the manosphere that men in this
still can't get over
this
that
stupid red pill bullshit. Kind of tell themselves, make themselves feel better when women don't want to have anything to do with them, especially high quality women that are ambitious, that can make money, can make as much or more money than
me
they
too.
can, and really don't need anything. And
part of the reason why I ordered
think
my
that's a
shirts
lie
first,
that they tell
right?
themselves. I'm going to be honest with you. My
It's
wife,
fit.
full on, told
Fat
me
guy.
100%. The reason that she is with me is because I make her feel safe. Because she knows, when she is with me, when she met me, from the first time we started dating, she had the feeling that no matter what happened, the car could break down, the house could catch on fire, whatever. No matter what happened, everything was going to be fine.
Right.
Like
Similar.
it wasn't a problem that I couldn't solve, and so that's why my wife was with me. It wasn't because, and at the time I was a strapping young man. I wasn't the fat guy I am now. Right. Yeah. And so so it's overly simplistic the way that people address things, right? And it has more to do with your confidence level. It has more to do with your ability. It's and the ease at the way you move through life. If you move through life looking at everybody else,
bottle
and saying,
opener. You'll have to drop video pictures of that in the Discord because I'm curious
look at that
now.
dudes in those. I don't even know what fucking in these new cool polo jeans. I got to get polo jeans. Fuck, I don't have those. If you go
I'm definitely
life,
gonna need a video now.
Or my job sucks. I'm just a whatever. I met a guy who's basically a security guard the other day. He's about to sign $1 million contract for a drone security contract that he actually provides corporate security using drones. He's one of 3 companies in the country that can do it. He signed $1 million contract this week for doing it.
Jeez, nice.
He's a glorified security guard. So,
great.
but yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries, man. I'm talking a lot here. I feel like I'm over talking, but it's this, you know, men have to be men. You have to be masculine. That's the qualities all of our forefathers had. Was we were explorers. We went out, we conquered things. We got up every day, we built things. We went out and you know, you could have to spend your last dollar at the feed store to make sure your animals got fed and not know where not know where anything was going to do, but it didn't matter because you go shoot a deer and put food on the table.
Right.
You know, you would solve the fucking problem. That's a problem in society. Nobody wants to solve any fucking problems. They want somebody else to solve it. They need the government to solve it. They need the schools to solve it. They need the city hall to solve it.
Waste
I really
beer.
don't need anybody to solve anything for me. I'll fucking
No.
solve it myself.
I'm just kidding.
Fuck
I
you
don't
guys.
drink, so I don't care. But
Well,
no.
that's Grid. That's the thing. My wife and I got married first off because I make her laugh. I make her laugh daily.
See, that's cool.
Okay, and she knows she's protected, and I'll figure shit out. Doesn't matter what it is, I'll figure it out. You know, get it done. But with the other thing, with the,
Hey,
you were saying
Jared,
with
good
the
to see
suits
you,
and
man.
stuff like that.
Surprised you're awake. You're
Um,
usually asleep, aren't
I
you?
remember
I'm not sure. Good to see you.
I used
Good to
to
see
work
you.
for
Thank
the
you very
city
much
of
for the engagement.
Philadelphia. And they bought us all yellow shirts because they were brighter.
Peach. You're fine.
Everybody, like
Appreciate
in
the
the city,
engagement.
had a
I don't care what
yellow
it says.
shirt.
Well,
All of a sudden,
I care
people
what
that
it says in
didn't
a
work
certain
for
degree.
the city started buying the same color shirts because then the girls would think, "Oh, he worked for the city. He has that color shirt."
Right.
So they got some. It's- it- so the fashion does have a little bit per se, but like I never been that type of person.
Appreciate
like,
you, gamer.
I wear my silly
If you want to
t-shirts,
join,
I
you're
wear
welcome
my
to, of course.
stupid
But if not,
shorts.
that's all right. All right.
I
Appreciate
never
you.
been a fancy guy. I never had a fitted suit. I'd be afraid. Nah.
Well,
Gotcha.
this
That's
is,
that's what it
Touching
is.
my
Yeah.
butt?
Work.
What are you doing?
Makes sense.
this is
Good to see
why
you, Jared. Good to see
I
you.
think that we're in such of a pickle today, is because like both of you guys kind of nailed it on the head, and like it's so complex that like literally any type of dude can probably get most women.
No, and that's the
You know,
problem.
if you
Don't
play your
call it
cards
art.
right.
Exactly. They don't
And
understand, and
like society
it's hard
would
telling them how it is.
like there was nothing really going
That's
on
why we
for
have
me
these
to
discussions,
like
right?
stress about and all this stuff. But like nowadays, like I don't even know if I can trust a woman, you know, to even
Well,
talk to.
that's another thing that the red pill's always talking about is, you know,
Yeah,
why would you get married if you know if your wife can walk away with half your stuff?
and I'm
Well,
nowhere
first of all,
near them. I'm not like a red pillar or nothing. I'm just, you
yeah,
know,
but I'm saying it's a really
like
common theme, right?
right.
Yeah, it's just it's in the red pill space. But even you're using the same language because it's becoming because what happens is these side groups, right? Like red pill and black pill, you know they the terminology starts kind of sinking in, and then you start using it, and you maybe don't mean it in the same way they do, but people interpret it the same way, and
Right.
ultimately it is saying the same thing. Well, I don't know if I can trust women today. Well, would you trust most men?
Well, no, and it's kind of that's kind of what the point is like everything is just not like everything's so out of whack. Like I can't even trust like anything or anybody. I
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily singling out women as
Jealous. Not gonna lie, Jared.
like ooh they that like that whole
Not
thing,
always
but
good
like
to
that.
see
Just
families that
in
stay together.
general, everything and everybody is just like kind
Yeah,
of
Kyle. Unfortunately.
you know.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that this perception of can't trust women, can't trust men, can't trust.
Thank you very
these
much for the
guys, can't trust
engagement.
those
His
guys.
words.
I think that's
And yeah,
pretty stupid.
I do agree.
And
They are
here's-
at church.
and here's why.
Some of them.
I agree.
'Cause
Some
we're
of
all
them aren't.
different, right? And I think that most people are basically good. I found that if you know if you just be kind of normal and respectful, even a little bit, and just you know shake people's hands, smile at them, laugh at their joke, walk away, cost you nothing,
Right.
but it may mean everything to them.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll never forget it.
Yep.
And this is something, again, and that used to be part of masculinity, right?
Yeah.
You can watch these old movies and how even when they hated each other, right? Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty, even though they hated each other and they were going to kill each other,
honor was a big thing.
Yeah.
they were still
Honor
very
was a big thing,
polite
yeah.
in the way they spoke to each other, right?
Exactly.
And we don't do that anymore. We're very big. And again, this guy, I honestly think it goes back to this weird since the '60s sort of vibe that we've instilled in society of it's so scared. Young men are scared of being gay, right? They're scared of being called gay.
Right.
Well, I'm not gay. I love pussy, right? Like this is just the way it is.
Right.
And you can't make me gay.
Right.
If I wore a dress, it wouldn't make me gay.
Right.
I think it's a little more devious than that. Because, like, yeah, you are attacking, like, men and, like, gay people and all that. But I think it's more of, like, a psychological thing
It is
to
absolutely.
affect
This is
society
the
as a
effect
whole.
this is the
You know?
effect that things
And
are.
we are grateful
This is
for the
part
women
of
like
I'm
Peach,
picking
like
on this one point
a
because
few of
it's
the other ones in
clear
my
illustration
Discord.
of the emasculation.
You women are the ones
of
that keep
men
me
in
going.
society, specifically
Right.
Western men, and even more specifically American men, because American men have it so good, right?
Yeah. First world problems.
And
I'll just put
yeah,
it this way, right?
exactly. First
It,
world problems.
it may sound a little strange, but when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. You don't even know what danger is.
Yeah.
That's how
Exactly.
good you have
B.
it.
What we're trying to do is get back to
Yeah, and
dialectical
I just think
conversations.
Tyler.
You haven't
I
checked
think
out
that it's
Tyler's
very
channel, check him out.
interesting that
Shout out to Tyler.
you have this very unnuanced approach to things, right? And it's really stupid. Yeah, like men used to hang out
Rah
with each other.
rah.
We used to
Good
pat
women.
each other on the back, right?
Yeah.
If you do that now,
No. Thank you.
well, I
We
wouldn't
need
think
more
anything about
women
it,
that
but,
are like you that would
I can
speak
even
up.
see it in
Not
my
saying that
son's
you have to.
friend groups where
But you being here,
those
speaking
young
up,
men don't pat
agreeing
each other
with
on the
me,
back, they don't
speaking
hug
up.
each other, they don't high five. They're just not.
Thank you, all of you, for being
acting
here.
in any meaningful way, right? Because they're scared of being seen as gay or bi or something. And I'm like, look, you're either gay or you're not. And you can't be made gay, right? I don't think. I think you're just born that way, right?
Well,
And
it's a mental condition. I mean,
sure, it's a
so
mental condition, yeah. But
theoretically,
you
you
can't.
could be made to feel,
Yeah, you can.
you
Yeah,
know,
you can technically socially
Well,
condition
it is a
anyone.
feminization. I do believe that it is kind of a psyop to make
right. That's
It
that's
is.
what I mean.
to increase people who are not who to make people who are not gay act like they're gay. I
Exactly.
could see that.
Yeah.
But the point is that it's just it's just an interesting dynamic. You know what I
Yeah. I
mean?
almost need to
And
tell
so
people to cam up just so that we have
and I just
view, but I'll wave my
I think back to when I was a kid, man, and
exactly, Kyle.
it was different, but it wasn't that different. But it was, and even when when my father was,
Oh, I can't
when my
highlight it exactly,
stepfather
Tyler.
was,
Not
when he
born
was growing up,
gay.
it was different.
I'm not sure
right?
what that was about.
And it's just, you're not gonna like, I don't know. It's just an interesting thing, and I'm picking on it because it's a clear, easy point, right? And you see this with these, like
Exactly,
again,
don't
these
call it up.
pop stars, TV stars, movie stars,
Bingo.
athletes
Tyler,
coming
that's
out in
why
some
I
of the
feel
most
it.
ridiculous clothing on the fucking planet.
Right.
Yeah.
Watching an NBA, dude, I remember looking at like Muhammad Ali, right?
Right.
In those fitted, pleated slacks or suit pants. He had on the sweater with the roll neck, and dude has a neck, man. Like,
Oh, yeah.
dude's got a big fucking neck. That roll neck and that suit jacket, and I remember thinking, man, now that is cool. I need to get me a roll neck, right?
Right.
Like that was like I bet that dude slays. You know what I'm saying? Like that dude is getting all the free
Oh
pussy,
yeah.
right? Like,
Oh yeah.
and even if
Well,
he's not, he can, right? Like,
Right.
because I believe that Muhammad Ali was not a particularly promiscuous guy for the time, and so but he could have.
Oh
The
sure.
point is not that he did. The point is he could have.
Right. Right.
And
Real quick.
I
Sorry.
just want to see men be men again. And there's like this whole list of things that I think that all young men need to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
I agree. Bandit, welcome into the panel, buddy. Do you have anything
Hey,
to
how
say
y'all
before
doing?
we get too further into the conversation?
Well, all right. Going off of what Grid was saying, and I was trying to look it up. All right, there's a gentleman that was a
Barn. Yeah, exactly.
He was an actor in either it was 30s, 40s, 50s. It might have been Rock Hudson, but the point was that
Hey, Miss
it
K,
was
thank
an
you very
older
much for the
actor
engagement.
that
Good
we
to see
now
you.
know it was gay.
Oh, many of them were.
And he dressed to the nines, like in a masculine fashion compared to what we would consider
Rock
the
Hudson was
most
one of them.
masculine actor.
It was Rock Hudson.
Yeah.
Rock Hudson, Raymond Burr, who played Perry Mason. Perry Mason's suits were on point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have a question. If these people were gay back then, and because like if men were men and independence was as strong as it was and honor was as strong as it was and all this stuff, the style would probably be affected, sure, but the dude's individual choice of what he wears and all this stuff would be.
We understand that people
like
didn't know.
I'm just ignoring my problems.
Well, yeah,
they
but
just
that's what I'm
eventually
saying.
go
Like,
away, right?
Wouldn't
That's
the
how it
guy
works, right?
that is actually a man but is
Right.
still gay in that time, wouldn't it the logical option be not to tell anybody
Thank you
that
very
you're
much,
gay
Miss
because
K.
it'd be shameful?
they didn't.
You couldn't pass your
And
legs.
happy birthday to your little boy.
You know,
Rock Hudson.
There's
had
been a couple of happy
multiple-
birthdays in the
I mean,
chat,
he was
and I
known
just
for-
remembered
for
that. Happy
dating
birthday to your little boy.
starlets.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much for the engagement.
but it's not like it is kind of
I think
like
it was
a
your-
bad thing. I guess you could label it like that, right?
I'm
But
a potato.
it
Give
is
me a break,
also
right?
honorable. It is also all these other things
Mm.
because, like, you're carrying the burden yourself as a man. You know?
Yeah, I don't know because I'm not gay, but I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
that
right.
there's. I mean, I can't tell you what the mental aspects
Kyle,
of it.
yeah,
are. I'm
exactly.
just saying
Are we
that-
not men?
That what we know is
What are we,
look back on
mouse?
history, and you look and you say, "Oh, huh, that guy was gay."
Seriously,
Yeah,
Peach.
I'm totally like spitballing here. I'm not like
Yeah, no,
I don't
it's-
know, but I would logically assume that like
Don't
most
call it
men
art.
would
You got
they
some
would think it's
interesting
honorable to
perspectives,
be
my
like,
friend.
I'll just do my thing and not disturb my family or not disturb my friends or this or that.
Yeah, I think that was a part of Matt. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I think that was part of it.
Well,
You also didn't see the girly men like you do now, right? Like we've got this really stupid societal bend where
You want
it's
to get
okay.
there close
It
to
was
my,
at no
my
point in our
wallet?
history,
Go
right?
for it.
At no point can you point
Don't
to
call it art.
where
I can't highlight it, but that's funny.
could dress like a woman until recently, and people would be okay with it, right?
And it's real interesting because the only time that you could point
Well,
to that
except for
is-
in music.
Ooh, sorry.
Hoover.
Nice, right on. Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah,
Actually,
sorry, I
now
was
that
just
I think
saying
about
for-
it, there's like 4 people that had birthdays today.
for
That's cool.
entertainment.
Apparently,
Happy birthday, everybody!
go ahead. I'm sorry, Leah.
No, you go ahead, Elmo. I was just saying for entertainment purposes only, like bands, hair bands, and things.
Yeah, and I was just gonna expand on that a little bit. Is that it's also like we call it a performance. And what are they doing in front of us? They're performing something that they're not.
Right.
Like everything all ties into itself. It's kind of interesting, actually.
I like the hairband thing. I want to. Who said hairbands? Leah? Was that Leah?
Yep, that was me.
Selma. Oh,
Yeah.
it was not.
So I mean, as a twisted sister fan, right? Back in the day. And all the, I mean, I grew up during that time period, and I got to be honest with you.
That's funny. Yeah.
I remember
What about the hair
them
bands?
getting a lot of shit because, the hair bands were, they were wearing
Bring
lipstick
back the
and,
80s
and
for real,
rouge
though.
and all that shit. And,
Seriously, though.
And they kind of grew out of it, right? But it was
good old
part
days.
it was part of that. And I think that there was something to that performance art that was unique to that time, but they were,
Sounds like a good month.
They weren't wearing actual dresses, right? At least
Duran Duran was a good band. I have a couple of songs that I still listen to.
There was the congressional hearings in it was
could be wrong, but they were a good band either way.
John Denver, Twisted Sister.
Seriously though, Miss K.
And Frank Zappa.
Seriously.
It was against
but
Tipper Moore. It was against Tipper Moore.
Yeah, but it was.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The point I was trying to make was I think the reaction to it was more of satanic panic. Like it wasn't exactly that, but it wasn't so. It wasn't directly on.
It was, Tipper Gore and a bunch of churches got together and they were trying to ban hair bands and metal because it was warping young children's brains. No, you're right.
Maybe I heard Korn's version of it. I can't remember for sure. I like Korn.
If I could
for a while there,
suggest y'all look something up. There's a band. The name of the band is Pinkerton Bowden.
I'm not sure if I know who you are, but welcome in. Appreciate the engagement. Depeche Mode was pretty good. Yeah, they were actually
Cowboy. But the reason why I bring it up is because
I have a couple of songs that I made.
They have is called "Please Censor Us," and it's directed directly towards Tipper Gore.
They're satirist.
Yes,
they wrote most of their music was written for the Bob and Tom Show.
Oh, so all right. I tipped my hat. Finally, I mentioned one of my obscure things that I'm interested in that someone else knows.
Bandit. Also, a metal band back in the '80s called Warrant actually brought out a song also.
That was a good band
against Tipper Gore.
Oh,
there were many.
There were many
aimed at Tipper
Gore.
Yeah, many music artists did. Yeah, many.
Yeah.
Many.
You had Twisted Sister and John Denver. Both.
And again, if anybody wants to join, anyone is welcome to join the panel.
Getting labels.
I have a couple new people viewing, so I want to give that shout out. Just join my Discord.
Parental warning, which means nothing at this day.
Should be in the description.
The lyrics, right?
Might get in the chat now that I mentioned it.
Yeah, but
the Beastie Boys, want it more.
Yeah, but the Beastie Boys were the tipping point. The Beastie Boys were the tipping point because the Beastie Boys were able to make the crossover. Run DMC started it, but the Beastie Boys made that crossover between rap into the rock genre and got a much larger pool, much larger audience, and that really scared a lot of the Tipper Gores out there, and so that was I think they actually did a whole big thing about it too. But they the explicit lyrics and having to have the at one point in time, I don't know if they still do it, but they had to actually have the lyrics to the songs in the record.
Yes, on the fold in or
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit younger, so like when I saw it, it was more on the CD side.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, again, but those guys were kind of masculine, but even then they were, remember that, and I've always said this, the reason why hair metal was the way it was is because these guys were, first of all, they were artists. They needed to stand out in a very saturated market, and they really, really, really wanted to appeal to women. And so that they didn't care about what other men thought about them. So it's I don't know. It's just I don't know that I would really put that in the same deal. But when we talk about, men being men, and if we want men to become men again, there are life skills that men need, and they really need to get away from female teachers. We need to keep. We need far more male teachers than female teachers for sure.
Yeah.
We need.
The
Hey,
only
Trey,
thing I would
welcome in,
add
man.
to the
Appreciate the
male
engagement,
female
buddy.
thing
Good to see you. Good to
is
see you.
I'm definitely on that boat, but the only thing I would add is that we need to figure out and probably narrow down to a science where to specifically place women to get a maximum effect out of them. Like nurses are a good example.
Well, can I just real quick, if I could, do we
Yeah.
think that we need to take women out of roles like teaching that have always really traditionally included mostly women, or do we think that the biggest problem is fathers in the home and men being in the home where they belong?
No,
Because
I
I feel like
I don't say that one problem.
I would say
Oh,
both.
sorry.
I would say both.
Yeah,
You know,
it's not a
there
one
are
problem
certain
bigger
things
than the other.
women shouldn't teach.
I
I do
tend to
think that,
disagree
yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah. So
It's definitely fathers in the home. We need
no,
fathers in the home.
When
We
no. I mean,
also like
certainly,
some of my
certainly.
best teachers were women, but
So-
it depends on the subject.
Mine too.
I don't want a
So
PE
what made
teacher.
your female teacher a better teacher than a man?
Depending on the
Because she listened
subject.
to you?
Yeah, it
she
was
listen to you? Did she
the
make
only
fun of
thing that would help is that in a stressful environment, the soft touch and tone and nature of a woman like just naturally de-stresses the environment anyways. So
but
like
we
things
need
that
stress.
oh
We
no
need
I'm
We need
totally
we
like
need
things like
both.
math that shouldn't be like a
So
thing,
who are
right?
the
But like
teachers in ancient Greece? The foundation of education. Who were the teachers?
Well, hold on.
men.
I think part of the issue is we've gone from like there was a time where like women being teachers was more of a like a motherly kind of thing, and it's become
No.
perverted to where they're raising
We've
your
rewritten
kids
history
to
in the
believe
United
what they
States.
believe versus what you believe.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't directly address Grid's point. I'll admit that,
Yeah.
but
we've rewritten what you think is history has been rewritten.
oh yeah,
We didn't have female teachers until after World War II. Little House on the Prairie was a fucking fairy tale. Okay? Didn't exist. Never happened.
Everything you watch was a fairy tale.
Yeah,
well,
right.
there's a reason why they
Essentially.
call it fiction.
Right.
But hold on.
Really
So
television
think there's
programming.
a bunch of people with Gilligan on an island stuck, right?
Sure.
Everything you watch was fiction.
But people look at Little House on the Prairie as kind of a documentary of how prairie life was like with the teenage or with the
Yeah, Vosh,
school
I
barn,
see
right?
your comment. I can't highlight it, of
I
course,
would second
but
that because me growing up as a little kid,
traditionally
that's
male
definitely-
role
it's
as
not-
teachers.
It was like it wasn't a reality show.
Interesting and
but it was
and
like-
fair.
It was like a TV show about life on the.
Sure.
So it was just like, oh, this is what they did and all this. It was I never heard anything other than like, oh, did you
Yeah,
see
Miss
Little
Kay,
House
I
on the
saw
Prairie?
that.
Like they
That's
didn't say it was
interesting.
fake or nothing like that.
That
Like,
your
that was
women
definitely the
teachers were scarier.
Yeah. So
Well,
if
Now that
I
I'm thinking
may,
about it, I could probably agree.
All right, go
if I
ahead.
may. So throughout history, every tribe, every society, throughout the world, without knowing it, did the same thing. Children were raised by women until they could walk around and wipe their own ass. Then they went to the old men to teach them things. In ancient Greece, there was one female teacher, and it was the daughter of Aristotle. No other women were allowed to teach. They weren't allowed to teach because the men were like the women weren't logical enough, in their opinion. I don't necessarily agree with that opinion. I think that women can be logical, obviously, but when we look at modern society and the way feminism has evolved, then I see something to what Aristotle was doing there. I think he was right. But Middle Ages, no female teachers.
Yeah, if I didn't make my point clear enough, I'm sorry. I apologize for that, because what I was getting at was like the kindergarten age group, where it's like it makes kind of sense for women to teach the most primitive, like, here's your letters, here, how to form sentences, definitions of words, that kind of stuff. But when it comes to, like, when you're actually trying to learn complex things, that's a different realm.
Well, I disagree, and here's why. Women are nurturers. They're not educators, and they're not capable, really. Most women, and look, I'm speaking globally here. I know that there's women out there who have the traits that can make this work. I'm not saying that
Maybe
that all that this is not a way that there's not a way that a woman can't.
Of
be
course
this way,
they
but
can.
Speaking globally here,
of course,
and I think I'm being pretty clear about that.
But they should be allowed to be emotional.
If I may, could I cut in for just a minute? Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Leah.
Okay, sorry. No, I was just going to push back a little bit, because you're not completely wrong with the women didn't used to be teachers in America, but your timeline is a little skewed. It wasn't World War II, after World War II, that females started to dominate in the teaching fields, or even get into the teaching fields. It was really between like 1850, 1900, when industrialization was happening. And that was mostly because they wanted cheap labor, right? They wanted the men in the factories. They wanted the women to be teaching, because they didn't have to pay them as much. And it only took 50 years for them to.
Right.
But I think that we.
Hey, Mrs. D, thank you very much for the engagement. It's good to see you.
I'm going to caveat this, okay?
Very
because
good
what
to
we
see you.
think
Thank
of the
you
way
very much for
schools
being
work
here.
Now wasn't the way schools worked back then. Back when, in the time period that she's talking about, she's right. That is true. But basically, you had.
I was probably the
children went
same.
to school from the time they
did have
were
a few female that did try.
8.
Maybe because I was cute. What happened, right?
Sorry. They worked. They worked in the house. They cleaned up. They helped cook. They chopped firewood. They shoveled coal. They did all of these things until they were 7 or 8, and they could be kind of left alone, right? You couldn't no kindergarten. Kindergarten wasn't a thing. It didn't exist. And they would go and they would learn how to read, they would learn how to write, and they would learn how to do math, basic stuff. And that basically went on to the equivalent of about a 5th or 6th grade education, give or take, right? At that point, that was the end of most people's education.
07. Good to see you.
They then went into the workforce, or they went to the farm.
Good reference there. Thank you very much for the engagement.
They did, right? Whatever their parents did, whatever
want to
their
say,
family
I've
wanted
seen you
them to
around.
do, whatever they felt like their calling was, unless their family had some money.
And I agree with that comment for sure.
Or they showed promise and could maybe get kind of a scholarship or whatever. And then they would go to what's called a finishing school. And that is kind of the equivalent to our high school. Not really, but it's the only equivalent that I can use that without going into a 3-hour rant.
Right.
So they go to this finishing school and they teach you advanced math. They teach you how to write. You read Shakespeare. They do all of the things basically that high school is supposed to do now, but fail miserably at.
Right.
And then you would go to college. Right. And so, and in college, virtually every single
right back at you
professor
right back at you, buddy,
was male.
Thank you very much for the engagement.
In finishing school, the predominantly the staff would be male, except in a female finishing school, which they did have. They might have more women there because women were taught differently than men. I don't agree with that. I'm just stating that that's how it worked in that timeline. So she is right. We didn't have what we would consider the same public school K through 12 system back in the time period she's talking about that we do now. That really started after World War II. And it wasn't really
That's
until
fair.
the mid 50s. It wasn't really until the mid 50s that you had a K through 12 sort of deal. Right?
Sure, that's fair enough. I think my general idea, my general consensus on it, right, is that we can only go, it's not like, we're talking about like what if in a perfect world, right? We can only go forward. We're not able to go back. Like all of us kind of joke about like, well, or even are somewhat serious about like repeal the 19th, but like, do I think that's ever actually going to happen in the US? Probably not, right? Same with like teachers being women, doctors
You
being,
do a
all
nice
of these
bucket
things that
for an ankle.
maybe in a perfect world
Oh,
or a
that's funny.
perfect USA
Oh, TBT,
wouldn't be the
you're funny.
case, right? But I think one of the things that we can do is look towards solutions and not just gripe about problems we wish we could solve, right? Which all of us are also guilty of, me included. I think, making family-centered propaganda, things like that. I don't know if y'all seen it. I have a little thing on my
That's fair,
YouTube
Vosh.
page. No big deal.
I agree with you.
Encouraging feminization of women, masculinity of men, and the marriage of family, and men staying, in the home, way they belong, and helping to raise their children. Not stay, I mean, as in work, but not leaving, the family is what I mean, or the
staying
woman
intact,
either,
yeah.
because both are guilty.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Right.
I think you can repeal the 19th. I think that there's more momentum to do that going forward, and I think that here, and this is something that I find very interesting.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Leah, gentlemen, I need to go. I hope everybody has a wonderful night.
Appreciate you
Okay,
being
Elmo,
on the panel for the little bit that
Have
I
a
got
good
you.
night.
Did you have anything to shout out before you
Have a
left?
good
Apparently Leah has a channel. I don't know. I don't have any
Yeah,
channels.
I've been there.
I'm just an idiot.
That's fair.
I
just want to give the floor if you wanted to shout anything out. But again, as always, I appreciate you, buddy. You have a wonderful night, man.
Take care, man. God bless you all.
God bless.
Have a good night, Elmo.
Be less evil, Elmo. Leah, I think that we could actually repeal the 19th. But I think that it's going to. I think the whether we'll see it in my lifetime or not, I don't know. Maybe.
It actually does
the thing is I look around at
the
I
immune system.
travel all over the country and I talk to so many different people. I look at things.
Yeah, Vosh, I agree with that comment.
You know why?
I can't highlight it, but exactly.
Feminism.
Right?
No.
I think because
the reason it will get repealed is because of the very large number of voting Muslims coming into this country.
Ugh,
and see that kind of let me caveat what I was saying as well. Unfortunately, you might be right. What I should have said is I should have caveated that to say I don't see us repealing the 19th as culture stands now. If we were to have an influx that large where they could actually turn over the voting base but not on a national scale. They're doing it town by town, which is already bad enough, and state by state, but not on a national scale just yet. If they were to get that kind of control over our culture, that is a big possibility, right? But if we had a complete rebuild of our government for some reason, like a societal collapse, then that could also be another way that it would be poof and gone. But as it stands right now, I should have caveated.
Not to derail the whole conversation,
warm water when I drink it.
I personally think that if it were the case that that Muslims
Tyler, I see it. I can't highlight it.
That would
repealing
be
the 19th won't happen.
than repealing the 19th.
Allow women to vote. Probably
that there would be the best way I could put it would be balkanization to where we'd have much larger issues moving forward.
I can't handle
my drift.
For sure. Because it wouldn't just be the 19th. They'd be going after Sharia law. That would be their
it would be like looking
we need to renew that heart.
Minneapolis is like a separate country.
The tree of liberty is time to be watered.
You guys are being somewhat pragmatic, and I applaud you for it. However, let's look at this logically.
Right.
You have a growing number of Christians out there that believe that repealing the 19th would help heal the country, make it better. on a federal level. Now, I'm not talking about,
State, yeah.
for state, local. I'm talking about federally, right? And so if you have a large number of Christians that vote that way and a very large number of Muslims who vote that way, then the 19th could in fact be repealed.
Sure.
And that would none of the things that none of the Sharia law things
Yeah, exactly,
that
Peach.
wouldn't get passed.
That's the
because
cold
there's not enough
plunge that I
Muslims
do.
to overturn the Christians. But however,
I don't have a pool.
together
Not that
it would
cool.
work. It could cause other problems. Obviously, I'm just saying. I'm just using logic here. I'm not endorsing it. But on the other side of that is that while the states could certainly, in their state elections, give women the right to vote, as was the case pre-19th Amendment, by the way, which is, I think, a really stupid point that feminists keep
too darn
pounding
cold.
on,
That's
is they're completely
if
wrong.
it doesn't shock your system, it's not doing it.
Well, most feminists don't even understand that only 6% of women endorsed suffrage in the first place. So these are the type of people we're speaking to. Just remember.
Well, so do you know? Can anyone tell me what year it was that we had the first female mayor?
Yeah, Mr. Constantine, I can't highlight it, but yeah, unfortunately, the Muzzies are taking advantage of the Democrat.
It's going to be earlier than we would expect,
and they need to stop letting them.
And late to 1800s.
Yeah,
I can't remember the date. Late 1800s.
Tyler, yeah, I agree with that
like
too.
1818.
Too many weak men for
in
good
Kansas.
voting women to give
It
up.
was right
their
after.
vote.
It was. Was it 1818? I could be wrong. It may not be 1818, but it was in the 1800s. It was, I think, slightly pre-Civil War in the Kansas Territory. They elected a female mayor.
That's the way to be right there, I guess.
Witch
just
of
get her
Wall
done.
Street is.
Yeah, did you look it up, Peach? It's
I know
rough.
about Black Wall Street,
Rough.
but I'm not
No,
familiar with the
Witch
Black
of Wall Street.
Yeah, Kyle.
So there was a woman, and I cannot for the life of me think her
struggling
name now.
with it.
She's very famous, and she was quite wealthy in her own right. She wore black constantly. Hang on, I will find it because it's a very great story. And
hey guys, I
Eddie
don't mean
Green.
to interrupt. I gotta
Eddie
go.
Green.
I gotta go.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Well, real quick, you want to have any time to shout anything out, or you just need to go?
I just I two small things. I have one question for Leah, and then I'll just say something. Leah, do you have? I'm just asking you this question, like your own personal opinion, because I've heard of the few things you say, and I'm pretty sure that you're a smart woman and you've thought about this thoroughly. And to anybody that you think that like all these ideologies going around are
Yeah,
really
it's got to
crazy,
shock
so
the system. It's
what
rough.
position do
Shocking.
you think in society, jobs wise, that women would excel at that we don't necessarily think you would? Like not like a nurse or like a teacher or something that they are fairly good at, but it's something that you would point out to anybody.
That's actually a really great question. I have thought about this. You know me well. I do believe that support roles are perfect for women in a lot of instances. I'm not one who says there should be absolutely
Repeal the
no
19th
women in
as
the
a psyop?
military for the simple fact that they
Could
can
be.
never touch the battlefield and be in support roles, right?
The
Same with
19th could be a
nursing,
psyop.
same with teaching assistants or even tutors, et cetera, et cetera. I think women excel in those types of roles. Not because they're lesser than, right? That's historically not why they had those roles. It's because they couldn't devote the same amount of time and effort and energy that men could because they were raising families, they were having children, etc., right? I think also things that play to our creativity, which is, it's shown one of the biggest traits that bring women fulfillment, especially post-children, is creativity and ingenuity. Right? I'm a maker. I love to knit, do cricket crafts, et cetera, et cetera. Things like this. I have lots of friends that do pottery. these types of jobs where we're not trying to work on rocket science or solve the world's problems, but you still get a lot of fulfillment by bringing someone something
fair,
that's
Tyler.
unique. Things like this would be
It could be
my top suggestions.
I'd probably never happen, but
that's pretty awesome, actually.
something needs to change.
Thank you.
Rollback
That's
voting of
a
some
great
sort.
question. Nobody's ever asked me that.
Am I?
Well, we can do,
Good
we can talk
possibility.
about it in the Discord if you want anytime, but yeah, I gotta go right now.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's good having
Thank
you.
you for the wonderful question.
Good having you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Have a
God
good
bless,
night.
buddy.
Hey, Grid, were you thinking of Hetty Green?
Yes, it's Hetty Green. I looked it up again just to make sure. Yeah.
What
Yeah, Hetty Green was the one that she and if you read her life story, it's very interesting. Pretty based, honestly.
Oh.
And so I think that there's an interesting thing where we want to pigeonhole everyone, right? But we don't. At the same time, we want to include everybody, and you can't do both at the same time, really. Where
The world is a vampire. It sucks you
Leah,
dry.
I think that women certainly can be in.
Yes, Peach on a leash. You do
Support
get that
roles.
book
There's
and read
actually
it.
a lot of positions I think women
Preach
do
it.
extremely
I'm just kidding.
well.
Don't preach it.
In society.
Don't go to that extreme, but
which-
talk about it.
Which is
Share it.
interesting because they're so
Hey,
resentful
MSM, good to
of
see you,
those
buddy.
roles, right?
I know that you don't always get to swing in, so thank you very much for the engagement.
Doing clerking, secretary, nursing, some other caretaker or
Also hope
organizational type
your
roles. I think they're
team
really
is killing
strong in
it.
those. I think
MSM,
that,
appreciate the engagement, buddy.
The
I know they're
majority of
killing it.
women
What am I
really
talking about?
probably
Get some shirts.
that want to work ought to be in probably one of those fields, right?
Just kidding, guys.
Obviously,
The organization thing is on point. Just 2 seconds, I just want to say that it's like women can color code and like organize by size everything in
Yeah,
your
Mr.
closet. and every
Constantine,
pair of
I
shoes you
can't
have,
highlight
and
it, of
in
course.
office, they can do the same.
See the
with all
point
your
of
files,
repealing the
right?
19th, but
Men,
not going to
not saying
happen.
they couldn't do
Argument
that,
is
but I don't even know that most
outright
men would even
that
think
it
of that, let alone
ought to happen.
think it would be worth the time.
We know damn
right?
well that it won't.
These are the types of things that women are
Was
better at.
originally
And
implemented
like you
based
said,
on
they're
feminism.
resentful of
It
for
needs to be
whatever
undone.
reason.
well, because they've
Have
been
to
told
agree.
that you're just a
Something needs to
like
happen.
being someone's secretary is like an insult now. Like you can't even call a secretary
Nice,
a
Ducky.
secretary. They're an
Nice.
office manager now.
Same with flight attendant.
Right,
The only
can't call them
people that
flight.
are still referred to as secretaries is like Secretary of State, Secretary of War.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know if I'm just like really far behind in chat or what, but I see where Go Tyler. Maybe I don't know. It says I'm live.
I could be lagging. I'm
Stop
not sure.
including gay dudes for here. I mean, I would. I don't have a problem excluding homosexuals from voting. I'm just not sure how you would tell which dudes are homosexual and which ones aren't.
Right.
Right. And they could just lie about it, so there becomes a problem.
I mean, yeah, they could butch up for an hour or two. Anyway,
I've heard Andrew
at
talk
any rate,
about it too. Maybe it was Rachel.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Thank you very much, Dave.
What's-
Appreciate the engagement,
what
buddy. I
think
hope you're
is-
feeling better. I hope you get to feeling better. He's one of the ones that needs prayers, guys. Don't
What
forget to like,
I guess
subscribe,
what I
and share.
dislike is I
Turn on that
dislike
notification
the
bell.
gaslighting.
Thank you very much, guys.
And propagandizing to compel women to do things or attempt things that only a very few ought try, right?
Right, and then making them feel lesser than if they don't excel at it because they were never meant to do it in the first
we
place.
have to lower the standards.
Yeah,
right?
I definitely see a side to repealing it.
Right.
remove the
I agree
women
with that
from
with all the
voting.
CEO, like I'm going to be a boss
Dudes for
babe type
Harris
stuff,
won't
and meanwhile,
matter.
you're gonna have kids when you're 50. Not
5%
going to
of
happen.
vote.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, so you guys don't. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but my wife is super highly educated. She's got a master's in finance. She has an MBA from.
Thank you, Abe. Appreciate the
school?
prayers and the engagement, buddy.
It's in California, Berkeley, Haas School of Business.
Heck
She's got
yeah,
an MBA
Peach.
from there.
Get
She worked for
it!
Goldman Sachs in investment banking. She's
She
like
deserves
highly
it.
trained to be highly trained.
It's a
right?
good book.
She's high speed, no problem. And there was a time where she thought that she wanted to
Fair.
be a CEO.
I agree with you there,
or CFO
TVT.
or COO.
It's one of the things
And
that
now
I'm
she's
not
like, no,
quite
I don't
sure
want to do any of that.
exactly how I
Like,
feel
that's-
about.
That I don't want to do that.
Absolutely,
not
Dave.
That's not my skill set.
Appreciate you, man. More than I can say.
She's very
I'll
good
shut
at
up
what
now.
she does. She's exceptional at what she does, but she's smart enough to know that that's not what she needs to do. Because she can't her risk tolerance is not the same. Her decision making, the factors that she uses in her decision making are vastly different.
Yeah, I don't see how it couldn't.
Than a
one
dude that would be a
person
CEO.
making all
So
the rules.
I think that it's.
I think it was Jake also talking about it.
And we see this a lot, right?
Australia.
Like the CEO, the woman that they put in charge of Cracker Barrel, who nearly drove just about had the country burn itself to the ground because they were going to change.
And by
the
all
whole
means,
thing,
if he becomes king of
which
Australia,
was crazy,
cool, right?
Right.
I'm not saying shit. I like Jake.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting.
I'm just kind of curious as to when you say it was crazy. I'm just kind of curious as to your opinion in which way it was crazy.
What, the Cracker Barrel thing?
Yeah.
So you have a formula that's worked for 40 years almost.
If anybody ever runs on the repealing of the 19th,
35 maybe. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I'm not really sure when.
I think I'm going to run on
it's worked,
taxing
it's
OF
grown.
60%.
The reason that people go to Cracker Barrel is they're consistent, they're the
19th.
same in
I'm
every
sorry,
state.
That was a bad joke.
People know what they're going to
Mr.
get.
Constantine, I think finally highlight your message. Yeah,
they're not trying Uncle Earl's.
Appreciate the engagement, man.
Vomit locker. They're trying. They go to Cracker Barrel. They get a good meal. And you take that and you change it, right? You take all of the things off the wall that they like. The people
voting Democrats will never win an election again.
The
if women
ambiance.
stop. Who knows?
You
Who knows?
change
But, I can't highlight it, unfortunately. But
the trademark that's been around forever. All of those
TBT.
things, right? And I think I don't know if they fired her. I think they fired her, the CEO, because she basically the backlash was massive. And we see things like that all the time.
Yeah,
men do it too. I'm not saying that men don't do it too. I'm just saying we see things like that.
Yeah,
because it's just poor decision making.
You gave the answer that I thought you were going to, but it was one of those things that just the way that you worded it, that could have been your response to it. Could have
Ninja
been
Stream must like you now or something. I don't know.
Direction.
Appreciate the engagement.
Depending on, and I'm sure. I was sure that you were going to give the reason that you did.
That's
but it's just
awesome.
One of those things, like,
I think that's what I'm going to do. That's funny.
The response that you gave about, it's crazy, what have you.
Yeah, Bosh,
the
exactly.
way that you worded
60%.
it,
Now I'll go to 69.
Could have been that you meant it 180 degrees in the opposite direction.
That was terrible.
Peach on a Leash says, can we know the gender stats on how they vote? Yeah, we can actually. Yeah.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah. You're not really talking there much, Tater. What's
no,
up,
I've kind of let you guys have the floor. Where are we at on the conversation? I was kind of paying more attention to the chat than the conversation.
Tater talks, but it's more to the chat.
I just said a lot of things.
I like to give you guys the floor if you want it. I try to keep the conversation going. I also try to put my points in when I can, but you guys have had a decent conversation, so I haven't wanted to interrupt it. But did you get the answer to the question that you asked? I know that we kind of went past that, so I'm assuming you got the answer to the question.
Oh, I don't remember asking it. What did I ask?
No, you're good. You had asked about men being in the home more than or teaching or something along those lines. And it was actually a pretty good question.
Because so which is more, I think the question was, which is more important, having men in the home?
Thank you very much for that, Peach. Any engagement is awesome.
That wasn't exactly the question. My question was going to be like,
that's exactly it,
is that the biggest problem, quote unquote? Like, is that the problem we ought try to fix? Is like make women not be teachers or repeal the 19th? Or ought we actually fix this men disappearing from the home problem? And might we see that affect these things.
I don't know how we fix the men disappearing from home problem.
If I was to offer a solution towards fixing men being in the home, it would be to slash welfare in multiple forms, because what keeps men out of the home is the government incentivizes men being out of the home and the woman being married to the government.
Right.
Yep.
That's absolutely right. Oh, gee. Okay, I'll go ahead. That's a number one thing for sure. I think number two would be a societal shift, which once again you have to do person by person, happen slowly over time, just like repealing Smith's motion, making sure that's illegal, etc. You also need propaganda, unless no matter what type of war you're fighting, even if it's a war within society or an
Finally can
ideological war,
highlight
you
you
need to
again,
use
Tyler.
propaganda.
Jesus.
That's just unavoidable.
And that's the
right?
thing is, I do want to
Positive
stand by the women that
family-oriented
stood by us,
propaganda. I think we
stand
need
by
to
us
move
currently.
toward a more God-fearing culture, generally, spiritually, and I think more than anything, in my own personal opinion, it comes down person to person. We need to bring back shaming and guilt tripping men and making them feel really terrible when they do these things publicly as loud as we can, make them feel like crap, and make them understand, you had a duty and you're not fulfilling your duty when the woman fulfilled hers.
Well,
and
how
gave
I
you
see it, I don't
life.
think
So,
as Christians we're supposed to rule.
I would double
I
down on
don't-
that
I
to
don't
say
know.
that that there should be
interesting.
a slandering. Well, it's a wrong term, but
I agree with that.
Uh,
Yeah, unfortunately, TVT. You're
going speaking that men should be married, and that
They
women
ought to
should
be
be married.
Yeah, should be.
right. Should be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not. I don't. I guess I don't understand that point, but I do want to address a couple of things there really quickly. First, sure, men ought to stay in the home. However, I don't think welfare is going to stop men from going out for cigarettes and not coming back for 15 years. Because
no,
they've
but
not
it might incentivize the women not to kick them out because they
Well, you're
don't
okay. So
have
that's
the
Maybe.
different. That's two different things. And what we see
Maybe.
largely is not men kicking or women kicking men out. It's women either leaving men, which is different, and usually because they think that they can take the men's resources, and then we see men who don't want the responsibility leaving, right, and going out for cigarettes and never coming back. So those are two problems that I don't think that we as a society can fix
Right.
without first fixing what the mindset is, and we do that in the people who interact with them every single day of the week, and that's the teachers. The problem is you have a bunch of women out there who are literally propagandizing our youth. If you can't accept the fact that that's
Part of the reason
exactly
why I
what
say I don't know
happens
if
in
I want to
modern
repeal it.
society and
I
modern
don't know enough about it.
education, then I really don't
thank
know
you
that
very
I
much,
have anything
Constantine.
else I can talk to you about because that is the fact. And that sets that welfare mindset in place. That sets everything in place. So while yes, it's absolutely important for men to be involved in their children's lives, I would counter with it's
Not
more
completely sure,
important
Dave.
that those young men get great educations. Those young women get great
There's
educations.
something about I can't remember
from
exactly what
men
verse it is.
and some women who teach good values, and so that when they do get married, when they do have kids, they change the cycle. Getting rid of welfare is certainly a great step. I'm not saying that's not part of that shouldn't be done, but it doesn't matter. You can remove welfare all you want. They'll just find another way and well, then they stop having as many kids, which is fine, but you've got to.
Well, maybe so.
Well, and that's the thing, Dave. Yeah.
Just real quick,
Is Christ.
to
I
be
mean,
clear, I'm not saying that what you're
we're
saying
not
is
necessarily
wrong,
supposed to rule.
and
He is.
I'm not saying
So if
that
we can
what
get
you're
into the
saying that
position
we're
and let
saying
him
is
rule.
wrong. I think
I'm not saying what you said is wrong.
I think
Heck yeah,
all
Peach.
of these things
I'm excited for you.
are
But we're talking
would
about
lead
what
to a
is
better
most
solution. I'm sorry, say that again.
The exact question was which is more important.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. In that
So I'm going
case,
to counter. I agree. I understand where you guys are coming from. Hey, men being in the home is very important.
Yeah,
Agree,
Tyler,
100%.
exactly.
Full
Again, I
stop.
can't
No problem.
highlight it, but yeah, you're
You
right.
can have all the men
Government
in the home you want.
incentivizes women. They
But
get
if
married
they're
to
going to
daddy
school every day
government.
and they're getting propagandized, you're getting educated to women are being taught that all men are rapists and men are being told
Grapist.
Rapist, yeah, please.
yeah, right.
Thank you, Tyler.
And young men are being
There's
told
the
that they're
one I can
worthless and
highlight
that
at
they that they hate women and they need to love women and they need to bow down to women and all of this. As
Oh,
long as that
sorry to hear
cycle
that, man.
doesn't change, it doesn't matter what incentives you
realize you
take
were
away. It doesn't matter any of the other things.
part
well,
of that.
can we
Well, if
agree
I
on one
could
thing?
I
Go
jump in
ahead.
just for 2 seconds because I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose. I agree that the propaganda is a big problem. I think everybody should homeschool. I've sent my kids to public school, and I'm not wanting to do that forever. It's a for now situation because I really truly believe public school is a big factor. However, and I get your point because it's like your kids spend 6 to 8 hours a day
exactly.
there, right?
We
Which
need
is
to
a big
roll it
deal,
back
I'll
to
grant you. However, teaching
stakeholders.
it should start, especially you were talking about instilling values, things like this. I don't send my kids to school to learn their values and morals. That's what they get from me, right? And I feel like, yes, teachers are so important. Yes, they have a huge impact. I would never deny that, right?
Yeah,
However,
I
you
understand,
get one
Dave,
teacher for
but
20 students, right? If all 20 of those students have no father, it doesn't matter how great the
there's a
teacher is,
difference between
right? Like they can't help all 20 of those
being the
students in the same
warriors
way.
and
Whereas if all
ruling.
20 of those students
I don't know.
have a father in the home, at least half of those students are going to have a father, that's involved. Hopefully, this would be the hope, and maybe a quarter of them like strong enough to push back on the
Right.
propaganda and actually speak to them.
Part of the reason why I want to
disagree
start
with you. I'm going to
Bible
disagree with
reading.
you 100%. First of all, you're
fair enough,
you're
Tyler,
setting
fair
a
enough.
standard that the fathers
21
in the home
years
would
is a
be
good
fathers
amount of
in the
time,
home.
man.
We don't know that.
Congratulations, buddy.
I'm specifically saying that we have to change the culture in our schools.
Good women are hard to find nowadays.
Well, aren't you assuming
Good to see
teachers
you.
would be good teachers too, just because they're men?
Literally said we have to change the culture. So that would mean that would literally mean that we have to fire the bad teachers and hire the good teachers.
Right,
So
but
Well,
what
wait, you're not
context
holding
is
the
that?
same standard though, because that's what I said too.
But you can't fire bad parents.
Well, I mean, the state could take your kids, which is the whole thing. Even if that's a whole conversation because CPS is like the biggest
Again,
human traffickers. But
Right.
my standard was that we change the culture too, so that men are more responsible.
If you're such a person that you're willing to be incentivized and you've been propagandized so that you will take a government dole, as Tyler just said, his government incentives to women boot men from the home.
Oh,
for
Bandit,
couples
that was
to not
funny.
get married because
Yeah, I
single
don't-
mothers get more money.
I'm
at
sure
tax
Tyler
time.
got it,
I fell
but
victim to this in the
yeah,
late 90s.
not
as a
the
7-year-old
married for
father.
21
That's
years, the
changed,
other one.
Tyler. That's fortunately that's changed a little bit, but the tax incentives aren't there. But I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we at least-
DVT.
There's still a lot of incentives there. So those cash incentives are, if you remove those, that doesn't automatically make the men be better men. What makes the men
Right,
be better men is
most
changing
factory
the
workers own
culture.
property or
Culture
something
has to
like
come
that.
first. Everything is
And
downstream.
if they
of
don't
that.
own
Right.
property,
I said that
we
too.
at
That was
least
part of
agree
my
that-
several part plan.
Can we at least agree that the government putting its thumb on the scales is not only
Again, why I
not
wanna
the
start Bible
solution,
read for
but
sure.
part of the
I'm
problem?
curious.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you won't find any disagreement because I know Grid One. You said something about you don't see women kicking men out of the home. It's that they leave because they want the benefits. But I've seen exactly the opposite as someone who grew up myself in a very ghettoized area in East Knoxville. I saw very much so women that would, literally call the police and accuse their partner, their baby daddy, of DV to get him kicked out, get protective orders, go to any lengths they had to remove him from the home, knowing that they had that welfare to fall back on, right? Or if their welfare worker found out that they had somebody and they were going to cut their benefits off, they would literally tell them, like, I'll just make him leave, which is crazy.
And I had a girl that worked for me that her working for me was her second job.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Don't
And
call it art.
when
Farmers, people that
it
are
was starting
producing,
to cut into her
but again,
welfare
they're going to own
benefits, she
land,
quit her
especially
first
farmers.
job and took the
Yeah, people that are
the
willing to
job that I was
produce
giving
back
her
into
as
the
her
system.
primary job so that
Yeah,
she could
B.
keep her benefits. And lo and behold, she ended up
Hey,
getting
Barn,
fired for
welcome back.
stealing.
We're still on masculinity, I
Yeah.
think.
Imagine that.
Haven't really
Again,
moved
bad
off of
people
it.
are going to do bad things, man.
Yeah.
It's just the way it
Right.
is.
I completely agree. And they're always going to find a way to do bad things, even if you erect all these structures to try to prevent it. So I completely agree. But I think you kind of misunderstood me on the one point,
Did you
because
catch it before
my
me?
several part strategy that I laid out, which was to propagandize men to stay in the homes and guilt them over not fulfilling their duties, that is part of my strategy of like men being in the homes. It's not just that more men would just be there physically. It's that as a society, we would make a push to create
Thanks for being
stronger,
on the
better
ball,
men
Kyle.
as fathers.
I missed
and
that.
women too. It's not just men. It's the women kicking them out too.
Yeah, I'm just saying that more important. I mean, while I certainly, and I'm not disagreeing at all that having fathers in the household is important. Changing the mentality is
Yeah,
super
Byron, I
important.
did.
And I mean, I see this with
I
my
should
own
have
kids. You know, like
reduce them down a little bit.
I have to. We actually change.
It always ends up being the last part of my stream that I get interested.
Helicopter parent here, but I actually removed my kid from daycare because they were celebrating Pride Month and they were doing all of this Black History Month and all that stuff for kindergarten.
In daycare? Oh, that
Good
doesn't
for you.
sound helicopter parent at all.
Daycare. And I was like, you know what? I
That's-
told my wife, I'm like, this is not what like daycare should be. Like, this is, we got to make a decision here, right? And so we changed, and the new daycare, pre-K, whatever you want to call it, right? He's getting him ready for kindergarten.
Sure.
And is way better. Now they are, they have a couple of Fruit Loop, people there, but for the most part, they're pretty based. Don't have too many issues with them, but I literally pulled my kid out of a daycare. I moved from California. So my wife was
TM.
working in California, and my son was
For
going
those
to
of you
school
that
in
know,
California,
no.
and I was traveling all
If
the
you
time.
know,
so I
you
didn't
know,
really,
right?
I was only
Exactly,
home,
TBT.
A few weeks at a time, and I noticed that my son was just not. He wasn't doing things that I felt like he should do, and so we ended up moving across the entire country to get away from it because it was stupid, right? It was just dumb, and
And that's one thing that I can also speak to is perhaps I am a little quote unquote privileged or very lucky and blessed because I am in East Tennessee. And I know I've spoken with a few of my kids' teachers about various things very lightly, like super surface
shouldn't do
level,
that, I
obviously.
probably.
But they all seem pretty darn based.
I'm not
So
Asian
I'm
enough.
very, very happy for that. I realized if we lived anywhere else, it could be a lot different.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I get it. Schools are very, very important. I just don't think anyone could convince me
That was one of
over
our
a
topics on
lifetime.
another panel.
One second. I don't think anyone could convince me over an entire lifetime that any teacher or even the summation of all your teachers are ever going to be as important as your father. That's it.
Yeah, I would love for you to I would love to say that that's the truth, but yet I don't think so anymore. Those parents are just not spending as much time. Now, I'm not going to say all parents, but a lot of parents do not spend the same time with their kids, and those kids get attached to the teachers. So
that is sad. I will give you that. They have to be good parents for my thing to be true. That's
well, if I could just real quickly go to bat for Leia, I think that's more of an ought versus an is statement. The father ought be
I haven't been dealing with ought statements.
And it's a crying shame that friggin' people that you barely know are more important to your children than you are as a parent.
Right. Exactly.
Well, hold on.
I'm not saying you as
if your kid is spending 8 hours a day in a school, at best, they spend maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours a day with you because they
Right.
get home, they have dinner, and they go to bed. So it can never,
Well,
ever,
your math is a
ever
little off.
estimated how much sway the public and the public school system has done this on purpose. So you just can't you can't underestimate this. And I'm gonna finish what I was saying earlier. So my oldest son, when he was and he was a little kid, right? So my wife convinced me
That right there,
this
Tyler,
top-rated school
exactly.
system
Homeschool.
next to the house in
Trying to
California was
find
going to be
my
great.
edge word here, but
And I
letting
had
them
this
have the
stupid
floor.
ass teacher calling me. I was in Utah. And I get a phone call from this teacher to tell my son to stop reading. Okay? Do you understand what I just said?
Yep.
In kindergarten, or first grade actually, to tell my son to stop reading and do what she told him to do, which was apparently like some playtime activity or something. I don't know, participate with class or something. I'm like, he's reading. Who cares? Well, let him read. He's in first grade. This is fine.
It's
And
probably irrelevant. It's probably irrelevant, but what do you know what he was reading?
something in the first grade. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. No, it's
Probably the big book of tanks. He was in first grade.
It makes sense, Dave. I
Kindergarten,
just
first grade. My son loved the Civil War, loved
not
World War
sure.
One,
I'll have
loved
to
World
do
War
some
Two.
digging.
Read
Find
every
what I was
single
thinking about.
book that he could find on it. I mean, the picture books, right? Like he could recite you all. I mean, he probably still can recite you all the specs of all the tanks used in World War II. And I'm like, this is insane, right? This is insane for a teacher to be telling me this. And then she would call me when he would misbehave and he wouldn't do what she told her to. I'm like, you're the teacher. Do your job, woman.
Yeah.
And so my wife, then I had talked with my wife. I'm like, hey, he can't do this. We got to do something else. Can't go back to that public school, even though I don't care if it's top rated. It sucks. It's a piece of shit. I don't like it. So I put him in a private school. It was even worse. Worse. Didn't like it. And I teaching him like as a second grader, they were teaching him Spanish. And I'm like, how about we teach him the states? How about we teach him, like second grader stuff?
Right. Well, and that's why I'm a full believer in homeschooling, and I understand that that's not necessarily tenable right now, but like Leia, going back to what Leia was saying, the men need to have some play in what the kids learn. A couple of commenters have mentioned that too. We should be the ones that provide. I am a full believer in we should not be the ones that are at home putting makeup on. Makeup should be banned for that matter. I think we really need to go back to self-respect. Again, I've mentioned on your panel grid, but
yeah, I agree with that.
We need to go back to self-respect, and then in turn, we'll automatically respect the people around us, the environment around us. We'll understand what respect means. And that way we can teach it to our kids, that next generation on that one as well.
But we should also be teaching the kids something that they can use to fulfill when they become of age to fulfill that goal versus going through the public school system, which was basically built to create slaves, just, turn, tap, zap, do some random shit on an assembly line, which at the time would have may have made a productive citizen, but nowadays is just going to create automatons.
Right. Well, the point is that it doesn't even do that anymore because the system's corrupt. So,
yeah.
But as I was trying to get to, at the middle of the year, that's why we moved back to Tennessee and why we put him in a Christian school That's why he's been at private schools ever since. And we actually removed him from the Christian school because there was a kid there that he was friends with that was fairly distractive, and we told the school, we're like, hey, I don't know why you guys don't see a problem with this, but we know that our son doesn't get into trouble except when he's with that kid. And you keep putting him in the same, you have a choice to not put him in a class with that kid, and you keep putting him in there, and it's causing us problems. And so we ended up removing him from that school and putting him in the school he's in now, which he absolutely loves. And he's succeeding at. But but that's because I am very involved in what my kid does. A lot of parents don't have that luxury. A lot of parents can barely have, by the time they get home from work, and by the time they clean up and get a shower and sit down and eat some dinner, if they can speak for 10 minutes, 15 minutes with their kid, that's like a luxury.
I don't know if I'd say it's a libertarian
Can I
point of
can I
view.
just for 2 seconds push back on that,
Would
because I
be a
hear
lot of
people
work to work
speak
together.
about this a lot in that wording, like it's a luxury to spend time with your kids. And I'll tell you, we do not live a luxurious life, my hubby and me and my kids, right? We have made a lot of sacrifices, specifically financial, so that I could stay home with my kids and actually raise them for the first few years of their lives, right? That's not a luxury, that was a decision. And this goes back to importance and what you place as important in your life, and you need to make parenting top priority. Like, I understand that it takes money to survive, right? And we would be a lot more comfortable if I was also still working.
Yeah, I think you missed my point.
No, I know that that's not your entire point. I just wanted to push back on that just for 2 seconds, because I hear that a lot, and
back on
it's not a luxury.
Yeah, I'm not. It is in fact a luxury for a father to come home from work, get a shower, sit down to dinner, have 30 minutes of dinner time.
Yeah, I'd agree with that,
to
Constantine.
interact with his kid before
I'd
the
rather
kid has
have
to go
Christians
do
be the
homework
majority.
and get ready for the next day of school and be in bed at a reasonable hour.
Just
I understand
be
now
the
that
majority.
in modernity we allow kids to
Noticing
stay
my
up way
error,
too late.
I'm getting an
my
error
son goes,
message.
I
So
want
if
my
I'm
son in
having
bed
an
by
issue
9
with my
o'clock.
stream, let me know, please.
He
Send in the
stretches that
chat.
out to 10:30 quite often, and I can tell.
Mine are at 8, so I
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So that's good. That's
as
good. I wish I could do that. But if you're doing that, then and I and now I am a little biased here because my son has a really high workload.
Sorry, I'm not
he has
getting
actual
everything to
homework
highlight, as
that
you
takes
probably
2
can
to 3
tell.
hours a night.
I
to
agree
get
with
through
that
it.
as well, Kyle.
And
Sorry,
so
I posted that and didn't
that
react
is
to it.
actually for most people that's it is to sit down and just be able to interact with your kid. Whereas the teachers that teach your kid are interacting with them for hours and hours a day. And that's the point that we keep glossing over. It's not
no, I
Well,
totally agree.
hold on. If I could square the circle for just a second, because when Grid was saying that it is a luxury, he wasn't referring to like
luxury for the child.
You wasn't referring to like luxury as like having money, that kind of.
No, hold on. If I could for 2 seconds, it's my fault. Let me.
You're good, Leia. Go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
I just wanted to clear it up since it was my fault. Let me. I didn't mean that I thought that you were like hedging your entire point on that premise or anything. I just wanted to take a second to push back on that, because I tend to do that anytime we're having conversations like this. You'll notice if you hear me in the future as well, because this is another point of propaganda from the feminists, right? That they tell us that you cannot survive on a one person income in the home, right? That it's impossible for the woman to stay home and for the father to work. You can't make it. They frame it to be a luxury to be involved to such a degree and raise your own children, and it's simply not. Like, it, I guess you could, it's just a choice, right? Luxury, I mean, I get you could kind of frame it that way, but I just like to push back to say it's a choice, because it's not. Your kids are only young for so long, right? And you make this decision, and hopefully you can lead them in the right direction, yada yada, and all this. But I just wanted to take 2 seconds to push back on it. I wasn't trying to demean your point. I get what you mean as well. I just wanted to offer pushback toward that idea.
Right, but we just can't get around the fact that unless you're homeschooling, your kid's going to leave your house, depending on whether or not they ride the bus or whether you take them to school. They're going to leave the house at somewhere at 7 o'clock, 7:30. I have my son at the bus at 7 o'clock in the morning, and he doesn't get home till 4:30. Right? So I live this. I live this to where I don't feel like I see my son enough through the week, right? And I'm going to tell you know, when my wife was working in California, my son got up to go to school at he had to be at school, I think at 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. I think it was 7:30 because he got there early. I would take him to school at 7:30. My wife didn't even get up until 8:30, 9 o'clock. Left for was in the office at 10 o'clock. She didn't leave she didn't leave her office until at best 10 o'clock at night, sometimes not till 1 o'clock in the morning. She would see my son on Saturdays and Sundays because that's the schedule that she was working. Now that was a short period of time in our lives where that's just what she had to do to move ahead. Right. But, and we both hated it. And we got through that as quick as we could. And the same thing with me when my son was really young and I was on doing the previous, before all of this, when he was really, really young, I was racing, and I mean, I would be gone for a week, 2 weeks,
right?
So these are, I understand that there are choices to be made, certainly. And I've made, my wife and I've made choices throughout the years so that one of us was always there, right? But the fact,
sure, and I didn't, and also just real quick, I'm not trying to demean that either. I'm not living your life, so I wasn't trying to make it an insult whatsoever.
I don't think you are. I just think that you're saying something that's not possible. Because
well, see, but this is the problem. This is the way the left frames it. It's not possible to just have at least one parent there all the time, when in reality it's quite possible. You take a financial hit, sure, you have to coupon and shop sales. And
Lee, just give me a second here. Let's just look at this. Your kid is not with you for 8 to 10 hours a day. Period.
No, and that's also wrong. You're also wrong. It's 6 hours. For my school district and all that, it's 6 hours. I drop them off and I pick them up. And like we talked about, it's only temporary, right? But I make those hours that I do get.
My son off at 7 o'clock. He's not home until 4:30.
Right, which is different. Everywhere it's different. Every school is different.
And when he has clay targets, because or he has another school activity, he doesn't get home, and he rides a late bus and he gets home at 6:30. So I mean, it doesn't matter who, and I'm home all day. I don't do anything. So it's not like I can't spend time with him. It's just and I get to spend time with the little guy. But the older kid, my oldest son, there are days that my wife doesn't get to see him because she will be gone, or she doesn't get up before he leaves, and she won't come home until after he's in bed. Just because of her office hours, which are weird. She'll have to talk to somebody in England or somewhere, but I'm there, right? So it's just the way society
Chat
works.
just
Your
died.
kid's in school with people
Come
who
on,
teach
guys.
him things or
Say
her
something.
things that are not what you want them to be taught. I mean, we had a
Well,
big deal.
it's not the way society works. It's decisions, right? Because we could be homeschooling our kids. We could be. It may not be the easiest route, but we could be, and I will be within that's in our 5-year plan. But really,
Thanks, Constantine. Appreciate that.
It's not like
that was weird, wasn't
it's like you're giving it up to. Well, it's just how it is, And I don't agree. I think it's all by choice.
Well, and the thing is, so if it's not possible to make it all homeschooling, what would be the next best option? Well, I mean, I understand.
Well, they do have K through 12.
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry, Tater. You finished.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just going to say certain homeschooling programs, like I know K-12 has been for some reason like online discredited lately, so I won't push that. But like programs do have like half days where the kids can go to a local school for half the day, so they get that interaction, or they can either go on field trips and special
Thanks, Barn.
excursions every
Appreciate
week.
that.
And there's all sorts of programs where you could do like half and half, except once again they end up being like pay out of pocket type programs or
You're good,
kind of
Peach. I was
difficult, or
just
there's
giving
not
you
many
guys a hard
spots, so
time.
it's just hard.
So I have many friends that have been homeschooled, and the socialization is not the problem that public school systems make it out to be.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think that for the most part, our kids are over socialized, and
agree.
it leads to a bunch of bad habits and a bunch of weird things. So I would push back and say that public school is trying to keep that, or try and instill fear into parents that their kids are going to be weird because they're homeschooled, which is weird in and of itself. Why would you care?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I'm just saying that was part of the programs that they offered was, I should have said
Homeschooling.
co-education.
Yeah. Homeschooling is going to be the next thing that's attacked because during COVID, it was proven to work too well. And the public school, a lot of kids didn't come back to public school because why would you once you understand?
Where
that,
I
hey,
understand
can
what
be
you're
around my kid
saying
all
there,
day
Dave.
and all this other
I
stuff.
can also see the other side as well.
So,
hey, Mrs. D, appreciate the engagement.
but
Still
it'll
around.
be the next thing
I
that's
appreciate
attacked
that.
politically is homeschool. Guaranteed. 100%.
It's already
I agree
under
with that
attack.
comment
Oh
too.
yeah, it's already under
fully.
attack. They're trying to make all these
We
laws
need to get
and
back to homeschool.
make all these rules around it where you have to do it it's exactly like this and this strict legislation. And the point isn't to give standards, which is how they're framing it. It's to make it so difficult that parents feel that they're not smart enough to keep up, or they're not going to be able to figure it out, and discourage people. That's all it is.
So I want you to understand. I want everybody to understand that this is not a new problem, right? So in 1980, I believe it was 82. I could be wrong. When Carter signed the Department of Education into being, we were
also have to be careful with
prior to
that.
that in 1980. We were the
I understand
number
what you're
one
saying. I do.
education system on the planet. And it was the most cost effective. Actually, we had it was there was no federal funding for it, or very little, and so the school systems did very well at raising money and through local, state and city funding, taxes and property tax, that sort of thing. And then we signed in the Department of Education. The Department of Education, since in the 40 years that the Department of Education has been in play, we are now, actually, I guess it's like 50 years. It's almost, no, not 50 years. Yeah, it's like 41 years, whatever. Since that time, we spend more money than
Kyle, I
any
appreciate the engagement.
other
Christians should
on
govern.
education.
Otherwise, we'll get likes of muzzies.
Was
I
it
understand
79?
that.
Thank you. Since that happened,
Appreciate that.
Sorry, I didn't want to just. I
no,
didn't
no,
wanna
that's fine.
interrupt.
I can never remember whether it's 80 or 82. I always confuse it. But so since that time, we spend more money than I think the next five countries combined on our education. And we are no longer number one.
Right.
We are ranked 40th, I think, in the world. We may have slipped. We may be 45th by now, but we were 40th.
Hmm.
And we spend billions of dollars. 800.
Yeah, Mr. Constantine, exactly. We don't want those low IQ cousin humpers.
Department
Sorry
of
about that.
Education.
Running the country or the population.
Now,
Where I do
this is not gonna
agree,
be a
again,
pushback, but
we just have to be
one
careful with how
thing
we do
that
it.
when you said that came to mind is the people that judge which countries are, which country is number one.
I think they were just stats based on where their grades were.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, that
standardized testing.
completely deflates what I was going to say, because I was going to be like, um, if you take like the European model of what should be learned, let's say let's put it this way: the top country in education teaches all their kids evolution, but you don't teach them evolution, and you automatically get dropped a bunch of pegs because of that. That kind of shit. Like,
We're ranked 34th currently according to Barn Diesel.
Yeah.
In math and 16th in science.
I was trying to go to like a global level.
Thanks
of
for that
government
feedback, Barn.
incompetence
Wasn't sure what
where
you're talking about. Appreciate it.
We're going against a federal level of incompetence.
I don't know how you would do that. We don't have a global society.
But I mean, you at least understand where I'm getting at.
No, I don't. But it's okay. I mean, I'm just making the point that we spend a crap ton of money and we get very poor results. And if we didn't steal all that money from the average taxpayers in cities and towns, then our education system would in fact be better.
Yeah.
That's all. That's my point.
And that's fair too.
It's just facts.
And not to derail, but I think in hindsight, was it Bush with the No Child Left Behind? I think that made things far worse because we ended up.
Was that Bush or Obama?
I'm pretty sure I remember Bush pushing No Child Left Behind, and I'm speaking W, not HW. But with the No Child Left Behind thing, it was
signed in 2002.
Yes, that would have been that would have been W. That we gave money to school systems or local and state school systems that were not bringing us the best of the best.
It's actually been replaced by the Every Student Succeeds Act in December 2015 because of widespread criticism.
Was that signed by 2015? Was
2015.
that signed by Obama or Trump? Because that would have had to have been Obama.
Yeah, I think it was the last.
Yeah, because Trump.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Mr. B.
The election was 2016. He wouldn't have been in until January of 17. So yeah,
keep going back to the churches, the communities, small time.
The last great hurrah.
Probably the only great hurrah.
Well, I don't think it did anything really.
Yeah.
But our that the Department of Education, and these are just sidebars. I'm sorry, I keep sidetracking you guys. But the Department of Education manages to have, for the past, I want to say like the last 8 or 9 years, they've had right around $10 billion, that's with a B, $10 billion unaccounted for. They know they spent it, but they don't know what they spent it on.
I'm having flashbacks.
I appreciate you, TVT. I hope you have a good night. God bless, buddy. God bless.
Give me 20 seconds. It was one of those things that if you ever go back and look at what the news story was on September 10th, 2001, it was the Pentagon had a bunch of money that they couldn't account for. They had spent it on shit that they couldn't account for. And I don't know if this part of it, I don't know if I completely believe, but supposedly either in the section of the Pentagon that was hit or in Building 7 was supposedly the records where that was spent. But either way, it was one of those things that
Yeah, that's
after
actually true.
9/11,
Just to like,
no one gave a shit about the lost money.
Yeah. What was that, Leia? What were you saying?
sorry, I thought you had paused, so I'm trying to speak over you.
You're all right.
I have done a bit of a deep dive into this, and that's true. It's the area in the Pentagon where they would have housed those records for the
Yep.
Department of Education is the area that got hit, and we never did see a plane that supposedly crashed into it and all this other stuff. Yeah, that's true.
The wingless plane.
Yeah, but the thing is that every year for the past 8 to 10 years, they've lost they've misplaced.
Yeah, I do
about
understand,
$10
Dave.
billion
I do.
of their $800 billion.
I just want to do it the right way. That's all. We just have to have the right person, the right people. Otherwise, we're back
Just
in the same.
imagine where it's going.
So
I'm just drawing. I'm having a flashback to Independence Day. Well, you don't think they spend $20,000 on a hammer, $30,000 on a toilet seat, do you?
Yep.
Well, I mean, this is a continuous thing with the Department of Education, and you have to understand that the Department of Education doesn't actually buy books for schools. They don't actually do a whole lot for the schools. I want to say something like 80% or a little more of the Department of Education is strictly administrative. It has nothing to do with educating kids at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, I mean, I personally know because we are partially responsible for all sorts of things for our kids in our local schools. I mean, surely you've had a Scholastic book fair or taken part in a fundraiser for the school. They've had like 6 at my kid's school this year, and I'm like, how am I paying all these taxes to send my kid to the school, and you still supposedly need all this stuff? Like, it's crazy.
I hate the way public schools pimp out the kids, having them sell everything from knickknacks to candy
Yup.
to magazine subscription. I fucking hate that. If there's literally nothing more that makes me want to punch educators in the nose than when a poor kid, and probably not necessarily poor, but this kid who ought to be studying is out going door to door, or their parents are, leaning on their neighbors to sell stuff. It's so annoying. I hate it.
Yeah, me too. I've never seen anything quite like it. I let my kids participate in one because if they sold so much and I knew we could accomplish that with my family because they're very supportive, they would go to like an in the gym party deal, and they had like a bounce house and all this fun like carnival type stuff, and it was the winter. They couldn't play outside very much, so I let them do that one. But we haven't participated in any of the other ones because I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You already made enough off of us. Go on somewhere.
Right. Well, we've been going for about 2.5 hours, a little over that. Do we have anything to wrap up with, or?
I want to start one more fight.
Sure.
Do you really believe that the teachers are taking money out of their own pockets to buy paper to make copies with?
No.
And buy pencils for your kids?
No.
Well, I know they do. They do spend money out of their own pocket to do like little projects and stuff like that, and I know that because I've like helped teachers out, and I've had a few teacher friends, and I mean they spend a lot of their own money to do stuff for those kids. Now I know that my teacher friends also had access to an account they could write a check from, not like a credit card, but they could write a check from, but that was for like huge bulk things. That was not for stuff they were doing for a project or something.
Yeah, I have a family member who's a teacher, and they spend quite a bit of their own money, which is absolutely ridiculous. But
I just find it
totally.
interesting that literally every teacher I know has told, or not every teacher I know, but all the public school teachers would tell us that they had to spend their own money for folders for children and all this stuff. I'm like, but what happens to all the school supplies that we buy at the beginning of every year? It drove me nuts.
Well, and 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 that's a good question as well. I think some of that goes down to like overbooking classes. Like I know my son's class, his kindergarten class was overbooked. They were only supposed to have 15 kids and they ended up with 21, right? Which you wouldn't think was a big problem, except for we all bought supplies for our one kid. And, the teacher did not have enough and she ended up having to ask for a couple of things, right? Now, could the school have given her that money? Yeah, probably so. I'm sure they had some kind of slush fund that they could dip into, but I think it's the administration.
Yeah, a lot of them do it because they want to.
And I know from teacher friends,
not all of them do it because they have to.
Even for things like field trips, the amount of paperwork and time that you have to devote to getting all of these I's dotted and T's crossed just to do something simple or buy something simple is ridiculous. And they do it so that teachers will just give up and do it out of their own pocket.
Yeah, I know a lot of the stuff that again my family member spends. It's a lot of it is just frivolous crap. They just want something a little bit nicer for their room or whatever. They don't have to be spending a lot of that money, but there's a lot of things that they say that they have to spend. How much of it is them complaining and how much is real? But like Mr. B says, they might spend some out of their own pocket, but I buy a whole list of supplies for my elementary level kids. And that's the other thing is it's going back on the parents to buy things. And if the parents can't buy them, then the parents or the teachers have to buy them. And that's where where's the money that we're spending on our schools? Where's that going if it's not going into the schools?
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with that was, we have the Department of Education is $800 billion with a B dollar budget. Okay. That's insane that they have to buy, that teachers have to buy anything. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, all right. I remember
that's in addition to all the state and local money that your taxes pay for, your property taxes pay for.
Exactly.
Well, I remember there being basically two lists. All right, there was the list of the supplies that you needed as a student. Like you needed a box of pencils, you needed this and whatever. But then there was the items that you needed to procure for the classroom, like a box of
Kleenex. That you could a classroom wish list.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's all right, think about this. All right, you have a class of 20.
I appreciate the engagement, buddy, and being the mod.
Let's say
God bless you, buddy.
Each student brings in a box of tissues.
And Dave, I appreciate you too, man.
Does
appreciate
the whole class go
as
through
always,
20 boxes of tissues over the course of a year?
I hope you're doing well,
and I'm just using the tissues as one example, but
I get it. I agree
the
with
kind
you.
of
that's always
supply.
been my problem. That's always been my problem. Is
and of course, B, I appreciate you as always.
It's just I don't know. I hear all of this stuff. I hear teachers talking about it.
And Apprentice,
and
if you're
in
in
the
chat,
how much of it is real and how much
always
of it is.
Appreciate you, man. I know you're busy.
Is kind of garbage, and I just really think that we need to get rid of the Department of Education altogether. But then again, I think we ought to get rid of all the 3 and 4 letter agencies. All the alphabet soup. I don't like alphabet soup.
I agree with that.
It's just got to go. I don't need it. I don't like alphabet soup. So tomato soup's fine, but alphabet soup, I don't like it.
Yeah. I got to go. Go ahead.
The only 3 air quotes 3-letter agencies that I think should stay around are the ones that were around during the founding, like the Department of State. But when you talk about the FBI, that was a permanent solution to a temporary problem. The FBI was created to
thank you for
deal
that
with
engagement,
motor
Ducky.
bandits.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't have motor bandits anymore. Why do we still have the FBI?
It's all money laundering.
I mean,
that's why I agree with Grid. We need to get rid of the 3-lettered agencies.
That's a long subject. I got to go to sleep. I've been up since 2 a.m. and I have to get up at 5 a.m. So I'm out of here.
Sorry, just to be clear, that was a rhetorical question. You don't need to go into the whole spiel of it. I was just throwing that out there as like a food for thought kind of thing.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, if you happen to be in the Austin, Texas area, specifically Burnett, Texas, I'm here, and I'm shooting a match over the next couple of days. You want to come out and hang out with me? Shoot me a message over on Discord.
Nice.
Otherwise, I'll be back on Monday. And then I'm off for a couple. I'm not off, but I'm not shooting matches or anything for a couple to 3 weeks. So my schedule will be more normal.
Nice.
And Tater, I appreciate you having me on tonight. I couldn't stream tonight because I knew I couldn't stay on long, and
No, I
I wasn't even going to come up. I was about to go to sleep, but
well, and I kept you for longer than I expected to, and I appreciate you, Grid. As always, shout your channel out real quick before you go. Like I always have.
Yeah, guys, come over and see me at An Unreasonable Man. Once I get back into town, we're going to be doing the day shift. Those happen at noon, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and sometimes on Friday. I don't stream on Tuesdays at all. Tuesdays and Sundays I don't stream unless I can help it.
Nice.
And then I have Gun Prattle. Gun Prattle happens on Wednesdays, and we talk all things gun. Firearms and firearm accessories.
Sure.
And I got a lot of good video coming together, I think, and from this match. And it's going to be awesome. This place is massive. It is absolutely huge.
Nice.
It's, it's crazy how big this place is, and all the stuff that they can do here. So I'll be throwing some stuff. I may throw a video together tomorrow evening. I shoot in the morning, so I'll be free in the afternoon. So maybe I'll do something.
Yeah,
tomorrow
Mr.
afternoon.
Constantine.
In the meantime, Tater,
I don't support
again,
CIA.
thank you, man. Appreciate it. Always cool to hang out with you.
Yeah,
I'll catch up with
Good
you
to
guys
see you,
later.
Grid.
appreciate you, Grid. God bless you, buddy. And yeah, if anybody in the chat hasn't checked him out, check out. It's in the chat. His channel's in the chat. Again, as always, you're always welcome back, man. Have a good night, buddy.
All right. We'll catch you later.
Night, Grid.
All right, so that kind of, like I said, I need to wrap up my stream too. Is there anything else you guys want to wrap up with real quick?
No, I'm pretty square with what has been said tonight.
That's fair. Leah, do you got anything?
Nope, I think we've covered pretty much everything on these subjects. I'm pretty good.
Okay.
But thank you for having me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go ahead and start with you, Leah, and then I'll get to Bandit. If you got anything to shout out, I know you've got your channel. If you'd like to shout that out, now's your time. Now is your chance.
Thank you, Tater. Yeah, I have my channel here at Leah Bobia, just like it's seen in the comments, and I'm also on Instagram and X. I'm trying to actually devote myself to making posts and having some engagement on there. I'm trying really hard because I haven't historically done that. And don't forget to support Tater. He's got new merch, and you can always send him, I believe is it Cash App or Venmo? It's one or the other, and he's working on PayPal as well. So support the Grill.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I've got Cash App, Venmo, and Patreon is where my shirts are listed. So if you want to check any of that out, I appreciate that shout out. Is there anything else before you go?
Nope, I think we've got me pretty well covered. Sorry, I couldn't find my button.
You're good. You're good. I appreciate you being on as always.
Y'all
You're
have a
always
great
welcome
night.
back. You have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks. All right, and
Later,
then
Leah.
Bandit, you got anything to shout out?
Yes. Check out my channel, Bandit 848. What I'm currently working on, I've got about 3 videos.
Exactly, Constantine.
It
Keep
is
that powder
not
dry, guys.
politically connected. Is a an entertainment kind of oriented thing where I am taking I think it's about a 40 to 50-year-old radio show and trying to turn it into something that more people will be interested in on YouTube. So check me out. Let me know what you think of what is on there. I've got a couple of previews. And if you are interested, the raw content of those radio shows are easily found on YouTube. So there's no hidden content that I'm keeping from you.
Right on. I appreciate the shout out. Yeah, and if you guys in the chat haven't checked out his channel, check it out. Help him get started if he wants to get started. And was there anything else that you wanted to say before you go?
No, that would be all. And I appreciate you letting me on and letting me shout out my channel.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And
I always appreciate you. A fellow Eagle Scout is always respected on my channel. With that being said, I appreciate you as always. You're always welcome back, man.
all right, you have a good night now.
You too, buddy. Bye. All right, guys. So that ends the conversation for the night. I appreciate all the engagement that we've gotten tonight. All of you guys you're the real ones for sure. So with that being said, as always, if you have any conversation starting topics, if you have anything that you'd like to hear talked about, feel free to drop them in the comments. After the stream is done, the comments loads up. You can do the comments there. And if you're not part of the Discord, please join my Discord and be part of the conversations, the movie nights, and all those good things. I try to help people out. That's what the Discord is for, is I'm trying to help people. That's all I'm trying to do, guys. With that being said, please take care of yourselves out there. Remember those Second Amendment rights. Your response time will always be faster than that of the police, and I will always want to keep you around. Those outside of the United States, please take care of yourselves the best way that you know how. As always, you could be anywhere else in the world right now, as the whatever podcast says, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that more than I can ever tell you. All of you are very important to me. Christ is God. And with that, the Potato signing off.
Clock's ticking loud, another dawn burns bright. You've been drifting too long in the pale twilight. No more waiting for a perfect sign. The forge is hot, it's your time to grind. Steal your will, don't bow, don't break. Rise from the ashes of your own mistake. The mirror don't lie, it's staring back bold. You've got fire in your veins, let it take hold. And now or never, take the race. Be stand and fight, break the chains. There's no time like now, no day like today. Purpose calls your name, so seize the day. Dreams mean nothing if you sleep too deep. Greatness dies where the timid weep. No king was born without the scars. No victory shines without the wars. Every second's a blade, so cut through fear. Every doubt is a ghost you can't let steer. You're the storm, the spark, the flame. So burn the dark and reclaim your name. And now or never, take the race. They stand and fight, break the chains. There's no time like now, no day like today. Purpose calls your name, so seize the day. So seize the Wake up the warrior, shed your shame. Life's not waiting, ignite the flame. And now